Welcome to AI Otaku Studio. If you enjoy fantasy and audiobook adventures, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Also, check out my second channel, Infinite Novel Audio, for more anime and AI inspired content. Now, let's begin.
Chapter 101, Bringing Humiliation Upon Himself, Reputation Ruined. Could there be something fishy? The group from Heaven Do Class once again cast their gazes toward Yu Zairogang. With the plot twisting repeatedly, they were almost unable to tell whether Yu Zairogang was truly a grandmaster. But at that moment, Tang-san said in a deep voice, "How could you possibly understand teacher's wisdom? I will never allow you to insult my teacher." Little San. Seeing Tang-san step forward without hesitation to help him out, Yu Zairogang's heart was filled with emotion. This was the bond between master and disciple. Teacher Tang-san also looked at Yu Zairogang. The two gazed at each other, a scene of a benevolent master and a filial disciple. Flender stroked his goatee and chuckled. Zairogang has a good disciple. Duguyan's eyes narrowed slightly, her gaze lingering on Tang-san. Though she utterly despised Tang-san's character for launching a sneak attack, even after Yang Yuan had shown mercy, even she had to acknowledge his talent. It was said that Tang-san also possessed innate full spirit power. If she hadn't consumed the immortal herb, her own talent would indeed be far inferior to his. After Tang-san and Yu Zairogang finished their display of master-disciple affection, Tang-san took a deep breath and turned his solemn gaze toward Duguyan. "I know of you. I heard that you consumed some kind of spirit medicine back then to enhance your talent, which is why your spirit power level has improved by leaps and bounds these past few years. You're just lucky to have a titled Douluo grandfather paving the way for you. If not for the spirit medicine, which of us Shrek 7 devils wouldn't have better talent than you? Even geniuses like us respect our teacher. What right do you have to deny teachers' abilities?" Tang-san spoke eloquently, his gaze carrying a hint of confidence and pride. Despite his usual polite demeanor toward everyone, he actually possessed his own inner pride. After all, as a possessor of twin spirits and innate full spirit power, such talent was truly a once-in-a-century rarity across the continent. Even compared to Yang Yuan, Tang-san didn't believe he would necessarily be inferior once he switched to cultivating the clear sky hammer in the future. Additionally, Tang-san had another point of great pride. That was the blue-silver grass, widely considered a trash spirit, which in his hands was not at all inferior to powerful spirits. His cultivation speed might not match an innate full spirit power spirit master like Zyro Wu, but it still far surpassed other spirit masters. One must know that even if other blue-silver grass spirits possessed innate spirit power, they basically had no attack power. It was precisely for this reason that Tang-san was extremely grateful to Yu Zairogang. If not for him, his blue-silver grass martial soul might still be a trash spirit. Yu Zairogang nodded with satisfaction, and a smug smile appeared on his stiff face. It had to be Little San. He hit the nail right on the head. Duguyan's gaze swept over the Shrek students before finally landing on Tang-san. "I may not know exactly how much weight this so-called grandmaster carries, but someone who distorts the truth and lacks character will never earn my respect, no matter how capable he is." At these words, Tang-san was instantly enraged. "You are talking sheer nonsense. My teacher is upright and pure. How dare you slander him?" But Duguyan only gave a contemptuous sneer. "Oh, really? Then what about in that town on the outskirts of the Stardew Great Forest? You launched a sneak attack even after Yang Yuan showed you mercy. Yet in your teacher's words, it became Yang Yuan who lacked character. With such a distortion of the truth, you still dare to claim your teacher is upright and pure. In my view, your teacher is just like you, two of a kind." Before she had even finished speaking, a commotion erupted among the Heaven Do Class 1 group as they glared at Tang-san. One must know that the class monitor was the sun in their hearts. Tang-san actually dared to sneak attack the class monitor. It seems he has already found his way to death. This kind of person doesn't deserve to be in our class 1. Get them out of here. That's right, get out, get out. Emotions ran high, and even the Shrek group's faces flushed with a hint of red, overwhelmed by shame and indignation. Meng Yuan hadn't known about this beforehand. She had always thought Tang-san was a gentleman, but now she couldn't help but feel a sense of disgust toward him. Tang San and Yu Xiaogang were even more speechless. Standing there, facing the verbal onslaught from all sides, the veins on their foreheads throbbed. Tang San's eyes gradually turned crimson, and he silently clenched his fists. Considering he had always prided himself on being pure and noble, being publicly exposed by Doulouo Yan made his anger reach its limit instantly. It gave him the urge to unleash every single hidden weapon within the 24 moonlit bridges onto Doulouo Yan. The Shrek teachers like Flender and Zhao Wuji wore expressions of embarrassment. The former glanced at Yu Xiaogang, unable to help complaining inwardly. You of all people, if you're here to teach Class 1, then just teach. Couldn't you have stayed low-key? You just had to pull all those flashy stunts. Now it's going to be hard to end this. Besides, if what happened in that town on the outskirts of the Stardew Great Forest gets out, how will the world view Shrek? As for Tang San and Yu Xiaogang, their reputations will only get worse. Yu Xiaogang's face was pale. He hadn't expected Doulouo Yan to publicly reveal this and embarrass him and little San. How was he supposed to stay at Heaven Do Academy after this? Noticing the contemptuous gazes from all directions, he wished he could just turn around and leave right now. Fortunately, at that moment, another voice rang out. Uncle, you've finally come to Heaven Do Academy. Yu Tianheng walked over from a distance. Seeing the Heaven Do Class 1 group verbally attacking his uncle and Tang San, he immediately frowned. All right, everyone shut up. Although Yu Tianheng's prestige in Class 1 was far below that of Yang Yuan and Doulouo Yan, his words still carried some weight, and the sound of the verbal attacks instantly diminished significantly. Of course, it was mainly because of that uncle, addressed to Yu Xiaogang. One must know that Yu Tianheng was a direct descendant of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, so his uncle was naturally also a direct descendant. With this status, the Heaven Do Class 1 group naturally stopped looking down on him. Yu Xiaogang breathed a sigh of relief. He looked at Yu Tianheng, a flash of joy in his eyes. Uncle, I'm late, Yu Tianheng called out apologetically, his peripheral vision lingering on Doulouo Yan, filled with resentment. Yu Xiaogang quickly said, No, Tianheng, you've arrived at just the right time. Doulouo Yan couldn't help but sneer at those words. Grandmaster, your face-changing speed is truly fast. When we arrive late, it's lack of discipline and poor upbringing, but when Yu Tianheng arrives late, it's just the right time. Yu Xiaogang was speechless and said nothing. Yu Tianheng showed a look of dissatisfaction. Doulouo Yan, regardless of anything else, my uncle is a member of my Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Aren't you being a bit too aggressive? Aggressive? I'm just telling the truth. If I were truly being aggressive, they wouldn't even have been able to enter the gates of Heaven Do Academy. Doulouo Yan looked at the Class 1 group. All right, everyone disperse, cultivate as you usually do. Clearly, she had no intention of giving them even a shred of face. The Heaven Do Class 1 group then scattered. Just as the crowd dispersed, a slightly lazy voice sounded from the distance. Oh, am I late? This voice caused everyone's footsteps to suddenly halt as they looked toward the source. It was Yang Yuan arriving late. Chapter 102, a spirit emperor taking a spirit grandmaster as a teacher. Even female-oriented novels wouldn't dare write it like this. Class monitor, the class monitor is here. Little brother Yuan. Yang Yuan. Everyone's eyes turned toward him. So he is Yang Yuan. Flender and the few others who hadn't seen Yang Yuan before were also full of curiosity, having long wanted to see what kind of extraordinary person he really was. Yu Tianheng looked at Yang Yuan with a hint of hatred and jealousy in his eyes, having completely forgotten Yu Yuanzhen's instructions. He felt as if Yang Yuan had stolen his life. If Yang Yuan hadn't come to Heaven Do Academy, the one who would have eventually ended up with Doulouo Yan should have been him. And he would have eventually gained Doulouo Bo's favor, obtained spirit medicine, soared to success, and finally become the clan chief of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. However, fantasy and reality always run in opposite directions. Beside Yu Tianheng, Yu Xiaogang couldn't help but straighten his chest and back, trying to appear as calm and composed as possible. He had never forgotten his primary goal for coming to heaven do class 1. If Yang Yuan saw his wretched state from just now, it would likely make it even harder for him to take the boy as his disciple. Of course, Yu Xiaogang felt that Yang Yuan should be different from other vulgar people who only recognized strength. As long as he displayed his vast theoretical knowledge, the boy would surely be impressed by him. After all, he could draw a conclusion from the words of the 3 committee members. Yang Yuan should also be exceptionally interested in the field of spirit master theory. In contrast to Yu Xiaogang's anticipation, Tang San's mind recalled the scene on the outskirts of the Stardew Great Forest where he was brutally beaten while trying to avenge Xiao Wu. Thinking of this, a fierce light flashed in his eyes. If Yang Yuan hadn't been half a friend back at New Uding Academy, for this alone, he would have already found a path to his own deaths. Xiao Wu's gaze was also fixed on Yang Yuan. The thought that he knew her true identity made her feel uneasy all over. Fortunately, Yang Yuan didn't care for her spirit ring or spirit bone, which allowed Xiao Wu to secretly breathe a sigh of relief. However, while she was relieved, a sense of indignation also rose in her heart. What's wrong with a soft bones rabbit? Is a 100,000-year soft bones rabbit no longer a 100,000-year spirit beast? Why should Yang Yuan look down on her spirit ring and spirit bone? This thought was a bit absurd, but it was indeed what Xiao Wu was thinking at the moment. She was both grateful that Yang Yuan had spared her, and annoyed that he looked down on her spirit ring and spirit bone. The rest of the Shrek group looked at Yang Yuan with various thoughts of their own. Fear, jealousy, envy, curiosity, Sister Dugu, Sister Lingling. Having long grown accustomed to everyone's gazes, Yang Yuan walked slowly to Dugu Yan's side and greeted her and Yi Lingling. Little brother Yuan, you're here, Dugu Yan smiled beautifully. Yi Lingling's beautiful eyes also sparkled, and behind her black veil, the corners of her lips curved slightly. Every time she saw Yang Yuan, her usually calm heart would experience silent ripples. After greeting the two, Yang Yuan finally looked at the Shrek group. Everyone, we meet again. Although things had been very unpleasant on the outskirts of the Stardew Great Forest last time, Yang Yuan's face showed no trace of any other emotion. After all, he wasn't the one who got beaten up last time. The Shrek 7 devils did not respond, and Yang Yuan didn't mind, casually sweeping his gaze toward Yu Xiaogang. You must be the Grandmaster, we haven't seen each other for 6 years. Seeing that Yang Yuan still remembered him, Yu Xiaogang was instantly beaming. Yang Yuan, I didn't expect you to still remember me. Yang Yuan smiled calmly. Is Grandmaster here to teach at Heaven Do Academy? That's right, not only that, but I've also been appointed by the 3 committee members as the homeroom teacher for Heaven Do Class 1. Yu Xiaogang nodded excitedly. Hearing this, Yang Yuan raised an eyebrow. How could he not know what Yu Xiaogang was capable of? While Yang Yuan was happy to watch him make a fool of himself, he couldn't actually let him be in Heaven Do Class 1. Otherwise, with his misleading teaching methods, wouldn't he just be ruining all the students in Heaven Do Class 1? Grandmaster, I don't think you're suitable to be the homeroom teacher of Heaven Do Class 1, Yang Yuan said bluntly. Yu Xiaogang's face suddenly turned pale, followed by a surge of anger. Yang Yuan, I really misjudged you. Do you now also think, like those vulgar people, that because my spirit power level is only rank 29, I am trash? But Yang Yuan couldn't help but burst out laughing. Was Yu Xiaogang really trash? In fact, there were people everywhere on the Douluo Continent who were not as good as him. But his arrogant personality was completely disproportionate to his abilities. Grandmaster, does reading a few more books, copying a few conclusions, and publishing them after changing a few words really qualify someone to be called a Grandmaster? Or does making a group of geniuses do physical training and soak in simple medicinal baths make one a Grandmaster? Since when did the title Grandmaster become so worthless? Yang Yuan's laughter dealt a massive blow to Yu Xiaogang's self-esteem. His face flushed red, and his whole body trembled. As his disciple, Tang San was also filled with righteous indignation. Yang Yuan actually dared to humiliate his teacher. He had found yet another path to his own death. But in the next second, Yang Yuan spoke with a smile. Grandmaster, don't misunderstand. How could I think you're trash? I still think quite highly of your abilities. For instance, Tang San, I think you've taught him very well. Having blue-silver grass absorb a poison attribute spirit ring, without being a peerless talent, how could one come up with such an idea? After Yang Yuan finished speaking, Yu Zhairogang's expression looked much better. It seemed Yang Yuan still had good judgment. However, since he also praised his theories, why wouldn't he agree to him becoming a teacher for Heaven Du Class 1? Beside Yang Yuan, Du Guyan's pretty face showed a strange expression. Because she had mentioned Tang San and his spirit to Yang Yuan before, and at that time, Yang Yuan hadn't said that to her at all. Hadn't Yang Yuan scoffed at Tang San absorbing a poison attribute spirit ring? Why did he suddenly change his tune? However, Yang Yuan's tone shifted. I still feel that Grandmaster, you are not suitable to be the homeroom teacher of Heaven Du Class 1. Why is that? Yu Zhairogang asked hurriedly. Yang Yuan glanced at the Shrek 7 devils and said meaningfully, Grandmaster, it's not that I don't believe in your abilities, but your teaching style is more suited for gidding geniuses. So I think you could start an independent Heaven Du Class 4 and take everyone who came with you there to teach them specifically. After hearing this, a sense of agreement immediately rose in Yu Zhairogang's heart. He, Yu Zhairogang, only wanted to teach geniuses. How could ordinary spirit masters be worthy of his guidance? At this thought, a look of interest flashed across Yu Zhairogang's face, and he looked at Yang Yuan expectantly. Then Yang Yuan, would you join Heaven Du Class 4? Yang Yuan gave Yu Zhairogang a flat look. Was this guy delusional, asking him, a spirit emperor, to recognize a spirit grandmaster as his teacher? Even female-oriented novels wouldn't dare write it like this. Chapter 103, accused by everyone, Yu Zhairogang collapses and spits blood. Yang Yuan said indifferently, Grandmaster, forget about me. For me, it's the same no matter which class I stay in. Even if I really went to class 4, what could you possibly teach me? Yu Zhairogang was speechless. He couldn't exactly have Yang Yuan, a spirit emperor, follow Tang San and the others in weight-bearing runs, could he? He grew anxious. The reason he wanted to be the homeroom teacher of Heaven Du Class 1 was for Yang Yuan. As for the others, except for a few, he didn't care for any of them. If Yang Yuan didn't go to class 4 with him, how could he take Yang Yuan as his disciple? Yang Yuan, aren't you interested in spirit master theory? I can teach you that too. Or you don't even have to come to class 4. As long as you are willing to become my disciple, I am willing to pass on everything I have learned in my life to you. In an instant, the air suddenly froze, and a strange atmosphere enveloped the training ground. Everyone was shocked by this heaven-defying statement, and slowly turned their heads to look at Yu Zhairogang. Not just the people from Heaven Du Class 1, but even the Shrek 7 devils, Qin Ming, Flender and others were shocked. Ha ha ha, Zhairogang, look at you, talking nonsense again. Flender stepped forward and slapped a large hand on Yu Zhairogang's shoulder, trying to break the atmosphere and snap Yu Zhairogang back to his senses. But Yu Zhairogang frowned and slapped his hand away. Flender, I am not talking nonsense, I am more sober than ever. After saying that, he looked at Yang Yuan with a confident expression and burning eyes, speaking his most confident words. Yang Yuan, how about it? Are you willing to take me as your master? You have the world's top talent, and I have the continent's strongest theory. I am confident I can cultivate you into a titled Douluo within 20 years. At that time, you will be the continent's youngest titled Douluo. Before his voice could fade, a sharp scolding suddenly rang out. I think you've lost your mind. A mere level 29 spirit grandmaster actually dares to dream of taking a 12-year-old spirit emperor as a disciple. Du Guyan stepped forward, her phoenix eyes full of authority, her whole body emitting a dangerous aura. The people of Heaven Du Class 1 were originally prepared to leave, but because of Yu Zhairogang's words, they all stopped and began to hurl insults. Sister Yanzi is right, a damn level 29 trash, and he thinks he's worthy of being our class leader's teacher. Pure fantasy, I think he's gone crazy wanting to take a disciple, to say something so absurd. The Shrek 7 devils had varying expressions, but whether it was Dai Mubai, Meng Yuan, or Zhu Zhuqing, All three of their faces were filled with disdain for Yu Xiaogang. Although the three of them admitted that Yu Xiaogang's training had indeed been somewhat effective. It was only to that extent. There was nothing particularly outstanding. Things like physical training and medicinal baths, who wouldn't know how to do such simple training? If it weren't for the sake of Tang-san and Flender, why would they truly respect Yu Xiaogang? At the end of the day, Yu Xiaogang was just a nearly 50-year-old level 29 spirit grandmaster. But what about Yang Yuan? Even Dai Mubai, who was very unhappy with Yang Yuan, had to admit that he was a prodigy who surpassed the ancients. For people like them, becoming a titled Douluo might be their end point. But for Yang Yuan's talent, becoming a titled Douluo was merely a new starting point. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Although Dai Mubai was arrogant, if conditions allowed, he would definitely try every possible way to suck up to Yang Yuan. As long as he could befriend Yang Yuan and lay low for another 10 or 20 years, what would he have to fear from Dai Weishi? It was precisely because they knew the weight of Yang Yuan's talent that the three of them, Dai Mubai, Meng Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing, sneered at Yu Xiaogang's words. Yu Xiaogang ignored the gazes of others and looked at Yang Yuan with burning eyes. Don't you always praise my theories? Come and be my disciple. Yu Xiaogang's words made Yang Yuan's mouth twitch. He wanted to watch the fun of Yu Xiaogang and Tang San, but he didn't want to become the joke himself. Yang Yuan shook his head. Grandmaster, oh Grandmaster, I call you Grandmaster, but you didn't actually believe it, did you? You? What do you mean by this? Yu Xiaogang was stunned. Exactly what it means on the surface. Yang Yuan grinned, revealing his pearly white teeth. No, impossible. You must be talking nonsense. You clearly praised my theories. Yu Xiaogang's face changed drastically, completely unable to believe what Yang Yuan was saying now. Then, as if he had found some evidence, a look of excitement flashed across his face. And when Little San's blue-silver grass was given a poison attribute spirit ring, didn't you say that only a genius like me could have come up with that? As he finished, the expression on Yu Xiaogang's face became even more excited, even containing a bit of smugness, as if saying, see, you said yourself that I am a genius. But under his smug gaze, Yang Yuan said lightly, so a casual remark of mine actually gave you the illusion that I praise your theories. That was my mistake. A casual remark. Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang didn't believe it at all and screamed in a shrill voice. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Were you also talking nonsense back at New Uding Academy? You clearly also felt that blue-silver grass should absorb poison attribute spirit rings. Xiaogang calmed down. Seeing Yu Xiaogang's loss of composure, Flender stepped forward to advise him. Leave me alone, I am incredibly calm right now. Yu Xiaogang pushed Flender away, his gaze still fixed on Yang Yuan. You mean that? Seeing Yu Xiaogang's almost obsessed expression, Yang Yuan looked relaxed and spread his hands. I was just saying that casually back then. I just wanted to see what would happen if blue-silver grass was fully loaded with poison attribute spirit rings. While speaking, Yang Yuan took a moment to look at Tang San with an encouraging expression. Even at this time, he didn't forget to continue digging a hole for Tang San. Facts have proven that blue-silver grass can indeed take poison attribute spirit rings. However, Tang San, I feel like your current blue-silver grass still isn't poisonous enough. You need to keep working hard. Tang San narrowed his eyes. Although Yang Yuan's tone was kind, he felt a mysterious chill, sensing that Yang Yuan had ill intentions, but he couldn't put his finger on what was wrong. Because, on the surface, Yang Yuan did seem to be looking out for him. Then Yang Yuan brought the topic back to Yu Xiaogang. Of course, this doesn't mean I recognize your theories. I've seen your 10 core competencies of spirits. Setting aside those plagiarized points, even your own views are full of loopholes. Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang's face changed, and he opened his mouth, instinctively wanting to argue. But before he could speak, Yang Yuan's voice continued. His voice wasn't loud, but every word was like an awl. It not only pierced clearly and coldly into the eardrums of everyone present, but also punctured the crumbling Grandmaster facade that Yu Xiaogang had maintained for years. Don't question what I say, I have a photographic memory. In these 6 years, I have read a total of 111,346 books. Yang Yuan paused, his double pupils staring emotionlessly at Yu Zairogang, whose face was beginning to turn pale. Even in your 10 core competencies of spirits, I can tell you exactly which arguments were plagiarized from page 37 of the Ancient Spirit Beast Illustrated Compendium, which data was stolen from Volume 9 of Elementary Understanding of Spirit Power Circulation, and which discourse was copied from the final chapter of the Heaven Do 30-year thesis collection. Plagiarism, stolen, exactly. These words were like the most vicious curses, exploding in Yu Zairogang's mind. The bit of feigned composure and the dignity of a theoretical master on his face collapsed instantly under Yang Yuan's precise accusations, right down to the page numbers. The color drained completely from his face, replaced by a deathly ashen pallor. He felt as if the ground beneath his feet had disappeared. His legs went weak, and he stumbled back uncontrollably, nearly collapsing on the spot. Damn it! Instead of being a genius spirit master, Yang Yuan, with such talent, actually went to study those boring theoretical knowledge. Isn't he a psycho? Yu Zairogang struggled to turn his stiff neck. Everywhere he looked, he only saw countless shocked, contemptuous, realizing, and disgusted gazes. These gazes were like countless red-hot needles, piercing him everywhere. So the so-called Grandmaster is just a tailor. Plagiarized things, and he dares to use them to swindle people. I knew it. How powerful could a theoretical master be if he can't even break through level 30 in his entire life? Plagiarizing dog, trash. Such trash dares to be the teacher for our Heaven Do Class 1. The fragmented discussions quickly gathered into a clear wave of mockery, surging from all directions. Every word was like a resounding slap, fiercely hitting Yu Zairogang's face and heart. The mental dam he had barely built over the years amidst cold eyes and doubts was powerless against these ironclad facts and naked humiliation. No, it's not like that, I was, drawing inspiration, summarizing. His lips trembled as he tried to voice a defense, but it was so weak he couldn't even hear it himself. Under the assault of extreme anger and anxiety, an uncontrollable metallic sweetness suddenly surged up his throat. Pupil. A mouthful of bright red blood sprayed from his mouth without warning, splattering in spots on the ground in front of him, a shocking sight. His vision went dark, and the last thing he saw was Yang Yuan's indifferent smile. Then his body went limp, his consciousness sank completely into the endless darkness, and he fell straight back. Yang Yuan looked at this scene and raised an eyebrow. Yu Zairogang couldn't even handle this. With such fragile psychological resilience, how can he be a grandmaster? Chapter 104, Basic Operation, no need to hype it up. Zairogang. Teacher. Tangsan and Flender stepped forward almost simultaneously. The former scanned Yu Zairogang's pale face nervously, his expression full of worry. The latter knelt down and lifted Yu Zairogang's upper body, using his spirit power to sense his current state, while calling out to Shaozin behind him. Shaozin, quickly give Zairogang a healing candy. Coming. Shaozin reacted extremely quickly, stepping forward rapidly, spirit power surged in his palm. And a candy emitting a soft, milky white halo, with a sweet medicinal fragrance, instantly condensed. Although the healing candy was only his third spirit ability, as a food system spirit saint, the healing ability of the healing candy was still quite considerable. Shaozin carefully placed the healing candy into Yu Zairogang's mouth and used his spirit power to help dissolve it. The effect of the healing candy was indeed remarkable. The pale complexion on Yu Zairogang's face quickly faded, and his breathing became much steadier. Seeing this, Tangsan and Flender finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, Yu Zairogang's vomiting blood and fainting undoubtedly proved the authenticity of Yang Yuan's previous words from another perspective. Therefore, even though he vomited blood and fainted, apart from the Shrek group, not a single person stood on his side. The crowd discussed it noisily, looking at the spot where Yu Zairogang fainted, their eyes filled with undisguised contempt and schadenfreude. Tusk, he actually vomited blood and fainted after being exposed by the class monitor. With such poor mental fortitude, how can he be a grandmaster? Is this the level of Shrek Academy? The teacher plagiarizes, and the students are probably no better. I'm afraid their strength was built up using forbidden drug, right? And they acted so arrogant before, but... The funniest part is that this piece of trash named Yuan actually wanted the class monitor to be his disciple. It's truly a toad lusting after swan meat. The students' whispers gathered into a clear wave of sound, making Flender and Tang San's faces turn pale and then green. Other Shrek students, such as Dai Mubai, Ma Hongjun, and others, were also affected. Especially after hearing someone actually questioning their talent, they were furious. What forbidden drug, relying on our talent, do we still need to eat that stuff? Besides, Shrek is so poor, can they even afford forbidden drug? Tang San's eyes were bloodshot, breathing heavily like an ox. He turned his gaze toward Yang Yuan, who was standing not far away acting like nothing happened, and growled through gritted teeth. Are you satisfied now? Looking at his expression, Yang Yuan remembered the meme, you already have the way of taking death from his previous life, and the corners of his mouth inexplicably turned up, feeling amused. He muttered in his heart, wondering if Tang San was thinking the same thing right now. However, on the surface, Yang Yuan just smiled faintly and retorted with a question to Tang San. Is there anything wrong with what I said? I just casually listed a few examples earlier. If you think it's wrong, I can list a few more. As he spoke, Yang Yuan shrugged and said with an indifferent smile, of course, this way Yu Zairogang will only lose more face. It's you! Tang San was furious, killing intent fluctuating in his eyes. But he could only forcefully suppress this impulse, because he knew very well that even if he used all his means, he could not be Yang Yuan's opponent. And he was right, if he let him continue, only teacher would lose face. Who tilde? Taking a long breath, Tang San calmed his state of mind, and refocused his gaze on Yu Zairogang. Dean Flender, teacher has eaten the healing candy, is he better now? Hearing this, Flender's gaze flashed over Yu Zairogang. Suddenly, he noticed that Yu Zairogang's eyelids seemed to tremble ever so slightly, and his breathing rhythm also showed a slight, imperceptible disorder, but he himself still showed no signs of waking up. Sensing this subtle change, Flender's heart stirred. Although Yu Zairogang still had his eyes closed, given how familiar he was with Yu Zairogang, he immediately judged his current state. He was already awake. A look of indescribable complexity flashed in Flender's eyes. He actually didn't know much about so-called theoretical knowledge, as he hadn't really studied it in depth. Therefore, he had always believed in Yu Zairogang and admired him immensely. But now, he discovered that Yu Zairogang didn't seem to be the person he imagined. Judging from his performance just now, most of what Yang Yuan said was likely true. Sigh. With a long sigh, Flender did not intend to expose Yu Zairogang. After taking a deep breath, he replied in a deep voice, Tang San, your teacher suffered from acute anger. Under the effect of Xiao Xin's healing candy, he has recovered a lot. It is estimated that he will be able to wake up in a while. That's good. After hearing this, Tang San breathed a sigh of relief. Flender glanced at the surrounding situation and immediately helped Yu Zairogang stand up. All right, Zairogang needs a quiet environment now. Let's take him back to the dormitory first so he can recuperate in peace. In the current situation, staying any longer would just be asking for humiliation. Tang San agreed, then stepped forward and together with Flender, supported Yu Zairogang from left and right. However, the moment he touched Yu Zairogang, he also sensed Yu Zairogang's current state and subconsciously looked at Flender. The latter immediately coughed softly and shook his head imperceptibly. Let's go. Okay. Before leaving, Flender looked at Qin Ming with an apologetic face. Zyraming, I've caused you trouble. I'll have to leave the situation here for you to look after. Leave it to me, Dean, Qin Ming replied, but looking at the chaotic training ground in front of him, he actually wanted to know how bringing Yu Zairogang to get to know the class had escalated to this point. However, after hearing what Yang Yuan said, he actually started to doubt Yu Zairogang's teaching ability. If it was really as Yang Yuan said, then this person was probably a hypocrite, and even the dean had been deceived by him. If such a person were really allowed to become the teacher of Heaven Do Class 1, the problem would be huge. After hearing what Qin Ming said, Flender immediately, together with Tang San, supported the unconscious Yu Zairogang and turned around to leave without looking back. Seeing this, the rest of the Shrek group hurriedly followed, fleeing in a hurry amidst a chorus of boos and mocking gazes. In contrast to the wretched image of the Shrek group, after they left, the Heaven Du Class 1 group gathered together again, crowding around Yang Yuan, and a heated atmosphere erupted. "Class monitor, you are too amazing." Ha, exactly, that was so satisfying to watch. What kind of bullshit grandmaster? In front of the class monitor, he still had to reveal his true colors. 110,000 books, photographic memory, you are the true theoretical grandmaster. Class monitor is mighty. Class monitor is mighty. Cheers, praises, and whistles of admiration rose one after another, and everyone's face was beaming with a sense of reflected glory. Yang Yuan stood in the middle, his posture upright. Facing the fervent and admiring gazes of the crowd, he only showed a faint smile on his face, raised his hand to straighten his collar, and then patted it as if dusting off dirt, saying calmly, "Basic operation, no need to hype it up." Chapter 105, Yin calls him Daddy. Rounding up, he becomes Tang San's grandfather. News of Yu Xiaorogang's theoretical plagiarism and fraud quickly spread throughout Heaven Du Academy, even reaching the ears of the 3 committee members. As soon as the 3 committee members received the news, they immediately sought out Yang Yuan. The dignified committee members took the initiative to apologize to Yang Yuan, stating that the 3 of them had failed to see his true character and nearly allowed Yu Xiaorogang to become the homeroom teacher of Heaven Du Class 1. Looking at the ashamed expressions of the 3, Yang Yuan naturally wouldn't say much. After all, during his time at Heaven Du Academy, the 3 committee members had treated him quite well. After comforting the 3 committee members, he also asked how they planned to handle Yu Xiaorogang. After all, facts had proven that Yu Xiaorogang was unworthy of his title of Grandmaster. While his teaching methods weren't completely useless, they were no more brilliant than those of other teachers. The 3 committee members told Yang Yuan that their arrangement for Yu Xiaorogang was just as Yang Yuan had suggested before. They specifically opened Heaven Du Class 4 and let the teachers from the original Shrek Academy serve as its instructors. And Flender would serve as the homeroom teacher. Although Yu Xiaorogang's reputation was now completely ruined, Flender was at least a spirit saint. With his strength, being the homeroom teacher of Heaven Du Class 4 was more than sufficient. Furthermore, as the former dean of Shrek Academy, he would likely be more adept at teaching the Shrek students. In addition, since Heaven Du Class 4 was newly established and had few students, the 3 committee members granted Flender a special privilege. That was, provided both parties agreed, he could transfer students from other classes to Heaven Du Class 4. Of course, this privilege was very difficult to exercise. Because as Yu Xiaorogang's reputation was dragged through the mud, many people developed a prejudice against the Shrek group and were unwilling to join. Yu Tianheng, however, within a few days of Heaven Du Class 4's establishment, withdrew from Heaven Du Class 1 and joined Heaven Du Class 4 amidst the bewildered gazes of everyone. Yang Yuan knew about this, but he didn't care about such a trivial matter. During this time, besides cultivating, he was mainly studying the 4 great laws. These 4 great laws were time, space, life, and destruction. Among them, his law of life and law of time had made the most progress during this period. Because he had some free time, Yang Yuan would take out Yin's original body, nurture it with life force power, and observe its trajectory of rebirth. In a lush forest, the light was filtered through layers of leaves into a hazy green. Yang Yuan sat cross-legged in the center of the forest, with Yin's blue-silver emperor body rooted before him. It was still only a foot tall, but within its rhizomes shimmering with golden patterns, there was an extremely dense life energy. This life energy dissipated outward, making everything within 100 jang radius vibrant with life. Vegetation grew wildly, and even the air was filled with the Kai of vitality. Under Yang Yuan's cultivation over these days, Yin's cultivation age had once again reached 9,000 years. Yang Yuan's eyes remained fixed on Yin's body, his left eye flickering with light as milky white life force power shone upon it, causing the cultivation age of Yin's body to slowly rise. Although her size remained unchanged, Yang Yuan could see the process of change in her origin. Deep within the pupil of Yang Yuan's left eye, billions of runes circulated, evolving into a vibrant emerald world where countless spiritual spots of light grew and leaped, enacting the most primitive, profound truth of life. Yang Yuan was immersed in the profound wonder of this creation and observation. He could see the flow of life energy through every inch of grass and leaf in Yin's body. He could sense the manifestation of the law of time upon her during her process of regrowth. Life and time, the two laws intertwined at this moment, playing out upon Yin. As time passed, Yin's body underwent another miraculous change under the nurturing of the life force power from Yang Yuan's left eye. Its surface actually began to shed like a snake. When the old skin fell away, her body looked even more translucent, like a piece of warm blue-gold jade. Her branches and leaves were stronger and more powerful as they stretched, brimming with vitality. Her cultivation age also soared from the previous 9,000 years, finally breaking through the 10,000-year mark. Just as she broke through the 10,000-year mark, Yang Yuan suddenly sensed a strange connection between himself and Yin. In the vague distance, a somewhat crisp, tender and dependent voice rang out in his mind. "Does Daddy? What's going on?" Hearing the voice, a hint of surprise flashed in Yang Yuan's eyes, and the life radiance in his left eye faltered slightly. Then he calmed his mind and focused, his eyes flashing with divine radiance as he looked at Yin's body once more. This time he went straight to the origin and saw two light orbs, one large and one small, flickering within Yin's body. The larger orb was dim and lusterless, with a phantom-like, beautiful figure curled inside, eyes tightly shut like a sleeping beauty. The smaller orb was like a newly blooming stamen, also containing the phantom of a woman. This female phantom was about 70 to 80% similar to the one in the larger orb, but appeared very youthful, looking only about 11 or 12 years old. The voice that had just echoed in Yang Yuan's mind came precisely from this small orb. After seeing the two female phantoms within the light orbs, a look of realization flashed across Yang Yuan's face. I didn't expect that Yin's soul would actually give birth to a brand new consciousness. This had never happened in the original work. Yang Yuan could only attribute it to the fact that the life energy of his double pupils was too unique. However, Yang Yuan stroked his chin, a thought suddenly flashing through his mind. If Yin calls me daddy, then rounding up, wouldn't that make Tangsen my grandson? Never mind, I'd rather not have a grandson like that. The newborn consciousness seemed to notice Yang Yuan's gaze, and once again let out a cheerful sound. Daddy, daddy. Yes. Yin's body extended its branches and leaves, pressing against Yang Yuan's face, showing extraordinary intimacy toward him. She said in a crisp, longing voice, "Daddy, I want more of that white energy from before." Yang Yuan was startled for a moment, then immediately realized that Yin wanted life force power, and he couldn't help but shake his head with a laugh. This newborn Yin is quite a little glutton. Previously, in order to slowly observe the process of the Blue-Silver Emperor's regrowth, he didn't consume too much life force power each time he nurtured her. But since she's calling me daddy, how could I not satisfy her? All right, daddy will give it to you now. Yang Yuan's double pupil left eye flickered, and an extremely dense burst of life force power shot out from it, instantly enveloping Yin's body. Yin's blue-gold jade-like body trembled for a moment, and her cultivation age began to grow frantically. Yang Yuan also seized the opportunity to carefully observe and comprehend while her cultivation age soared. This time, Yin's cultivation age directly increased by 3,000 years. Afterward, Yin's crisp, grateful voice rang out. Thank you, Daddy. Chapter 106, Running with Stones on the Back. This is called consolidating the foundation. Yin used her branches and leaves, which were surrounded by faint golden spots of light, to gently touch Yang Yuan's forehead. Her movements were intimate and natural, looking incredibly joyful. Seeing this, Yang Yuan teased her a bit with his finger. Suddenly, his double pupils moved imperceptibly, and a divine light flashed in his eyes. He looked at Yin, then turned his head to look through layers of space toward a certain direction in Heaven Do Academy. Just now, he had keenly sensed a trace of bloodline fluctuation from the same origin as Yin. This fluctuation had manifested after Yin's breakthrough to 10,000 years. A bit interesting. Yang Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly, curious about what kind of expression Tang San would have if he knew his mother was here. Meanwhile, inside a massive and spacious training ground in the main campus area of Heaven Do Academy. Heaven Do Academy was wealthy and powerful. There were over a dozen such training grounds. Even just Heaven Do Class 4 alone occupied one training ground. Bang! On the training ground, Yu Tianheng took turns accepting the continuous attacks of Daimyu by Tang San and Ma Hongjun. Xiao Wu's flexible figure darted across the field as she engaged in practical combat training with Xu Zhuqing. Oscar, on the other hand, was carrying a basket piled with stones of various sizes for weight-bearing training, running laps around the entire training ground. This was the special training Yu Xiaogang assigned to him every day. He was already panting heavily from exhaustion because Yu Xiaogang did not allow him to use spirit power. There was actually one person accompanying him, and that was Meng Yuan. However, this was not out of Meng Yuan's own volition. Rather, Yu Xiaogang didn't know how to arrange her, so he simply sent her to follow Oscar in physical training. He called it in the name of beauty that her foundation was unstable and needed to be consolidated. Yu Xiaogang stood in the distance, his gaze sweeping over the scene, a look of satisfaction appearing on his face. Everything was proceeding in an orderly manner according to his plan. Currently in Heaven Do Academy, he was notorious and his reputation was swept away. If it were anyone else, they might have already collapsed and never recovered. But Yu Xiaogang was different. He had been silent for over 20 years. Back at Nyuding Academy, he was looked down upon by a group of half-grown children, yet hadn't he still made it through? How could this little bit of gossip easily strike him down? He clenched his fists tightly, his knuckles turning white, and stared intently at the disciples training hard on the field, especially Tang San, with only one thought in his mind: don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. That was to prove himself. In order to prove himself, he had even personally hoodwinked his nephew, Yu Tianheng, into coming over. And the reason he did this was to make this team an overnight sensation at the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Tournament. Even if this team couldn't defeat the team led by Yang Yuan, it would definitely help him wash away his reputation as a piece of trash. While Yu Xiaogang was lost in his imagination, a sudden abnormality occurred on the training ground. Tang San, who was currently fighting Yu Tianheng, suddenly stiffened, his figure becoming sluggish for a moment. An indescribable throb surged from the depths of his bloodline, without warning, instantly sweeping through his entire body. This feeling actually gave rise to a sense of kindness and warmth within him. It was as if a long-lost close relative was calling out from a distant place, causing his heart rate to quicken involuntarily. What's going on? Such a thought flashed through Tang San's mind, but in the instant he was dazed, his defenses were wide open, revealing a flaw. Originally, he was using Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track, making it impossible for Yu Tianheng to take him down for a while. But in the moment he was dazed, his Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track also slowed down, and Yu Tianheng seized the opportunity. With thunder surrounding his body, Yu Tianheng took a step forward, and his arm, densely covered in dragon scales, suddenly struck out, landing on Tang San's chest in an instant. With a muffled thud, Tang San's face turned pale instantly, and his body flew backwards like a kite with a broken string. Before Tang San could steady his footing, Yu Xiaogang's stern voice immediately came from the distance. "Little San, what are you thinking about?" "What happened?" "Teacher, Tang San steadied his body and focused on the throb he had just felt, only to find that it had already vanished. Therefore, he could only suppress the doubt in his heart and said apologetically, "It's nothing, it's just that the circulation of my spirit power suddenly became a bit stagnant." Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang immediately frowned. "Little San, nothing is wrong, right? Go and have Flender check you over." As a level 78 spirit saint, Flender's perception was far beyond what he, a level 29 spirit grandmaster, could compare to. Tang San nodded. After a while, Tang San returned to the training ground. Yu Xiaogang asked with concern, "Little San, what did Flender say?" Tang San shook his head and said, "Dean Flender said there's nothing wrong with me." Although Flender was currently only the homeroom teacher of Heaven Du Class 4, they were still used to calling him Dean. Upon hearing this, Yu Xiaogang immediately felt relieved. Since Flender said so, then Tang San likely had no issues. However, he still didn't give Tang San a kind look and lectured in a deep voice, "Little San, since there's nothing wrong with your body, it means you haven't been perfect enough in your spirit power circulation, which is why the stagnation occurred. This is no small matter. Think about it. If you and Tianheng weren't sparring just now but were in a life and death struggle, this mistake of yours would most likely cost you your life. Teacher, your disciple has learned." Tang San bowed respectfully while listening to Yu Xiaogang's serious lecture. Although after what had happened before, let alone outsiders, even some among the Shrek's 7 devils had begun to question Yu Xiaogang's ability. But Tang San's respect for him remained undiminished. This was also something that made Yu Xiaogang feel extremely gratified. Of course, the main reason was that Tang San felt that although his teacher had indeed done some things wrong, at least the things he taught him were real. Especially the point about blue-silver grass absorbing poison attribute spirit rings. This was definitely a discovery sufficient to shake the spirit master's world. After all, this was a major discovery that could allow the trash spirit, blue-silver grass, to rival powerful spirits. Seeing Tang San decisively admit his mistake, Yu Xiaogang nodded with satisfaction, but then he turned his gaze toward the others. His gaze swept across everyone on the field, and he deliberately raised his voice, giving it a sense of unquestionable authority. "Perk up, everyone. Our goal is only one, the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy Elite Tournament. Individual strength is limited, no matter how strong. Only a team with strong will, perfect tactics, and seamless cooperation can allow you to defeat those even more powerful opponents." At this time, Meng Yuan put down the basket full of stones on her back and said with a frown, "Grandmaster, you have arrangements for everyone else. You can't just keep letting me and Little Ao do physical training together, can you?" Although her talent couldn't compare to the others in Shrek, she still had her own pursuits. It was fine to do physical training at Shrek Academy, since Shrek Academy lacked facilities and conditions. But now that they were at Heaven Du Academy, and she still could only do physical training, wouldn't her coming here be in vain? Where could she not run while carrying stones? However, as soon as she finished speaking, Yu Xiaogang pulled a long face and said coldly, "I'm letting you do physical training because your foundation is not solid enough. Are you questioning my judgment?" Seeing Yu Xiaogang's cold expression, Oscar stepped forward with an apologetic smile and said, "Hey, Grandmaster, you know Yuan didn't mean that." After saying that, he also pulled on Meng Yuan's sleeve. Yu Xiaogang was Tang San's teacher and also a good friend of Dean Flender. If Meng Yuan slighted his face at this time, it would be hard to avoid being targeted in the coming days. Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang glanced indifferently at Oscar. "I hope so." Chapter 107, Zhu Zhuqing's Decisiveness. To be honest, Yu Xiaogang didn't place much importance on Meng Yuan. In the blueprint he envisioned, Meng Yuan would, at most, be a substitute for the team. Because her rank wasn't high, she was only rank 32 even now. Even by the start of the Soul Master Tournament, she probably wouldn't be able to advance many ranks. There is actually a bug here. In the original work, from the time she obtained her 3rd spirit ring until the Soul Master Tournament, only about a year and a half passed, but her spirit power reached rank 37, which is too exaggerated. Also, Zyro Wu, who didn't eat an immortal herb, was able to break through to level 40 before the finals began. I don't know what Tangjia Sancha was thinking, making everyone else look like clowns. Furthermore, Meng Yuan didn't particularly excel in other aspects. Don't look at Zhu Zhuqing and Ma Hongjun being only rank 28. But Ma Hongjun's evil fire phoenix is a top-tier spirit, and his combat power is in no way inferior to an ordinary spirit, elder just over rank 30. As for Zhu Zhuqing as an agility attack system soul master, once she breaks through to rank 30, her usefulness will surpass Meng Yuan's. In addition, theoretically, Zhu Zhuqing can also perform the martial soul fusion skill with Dai Mubai. Once deployed, its power would be considered top tier even among spirit ancestors. However, these two still haven't achieved tacit understanding, and no matter how Yu Xiaogang tried to persuade them, it was useless. Training continued. Oscar and Meng Yuan ran side by side. The latter snorted and said, "Why did you stop me just now? Was what I said wrong? I think Yu Xiaogang is clearly targeting me." "Shh, keep your voice down." Oscar turned his head, glanced at Yu Xiaogang, who was criticizing Tang San and Tianheng from afar, and then whispered, "Tang San is his disciple, and Dean Flender is his friend. If you contradict him in front of so many people, how will you manage in Heaven do Class 4 later?" Meng Yuan still wore a look of disdain. "So what? At worst, I'll transfer classes. Hasn't it been proven that Yu Xiaogang is just a fake grandmaster?" After speaking, Meng Yuan's eyes lit up. "Little Ao, why don't we transfer to Class 1? Or we could just leave Heaven Do Academy and go to the Strange Beast Academy. My family has a lot of influence in that area, and we can still receive top-tier training there." Upon hearing this, Oscar sighed. "You know that if I leave, the dean will definitely be very sad." Even for the sake of the dean's face, he couldn't transfer classes. Although Meng Yuan felt disappointed upon hearing this, she could only give up. Her original purpose for going to Shrek Academy was precisely because she valued Oscar's potential. If Oscar wasn't leaving, no matter how dissatisfied she was with Yu Xiaogang, she had to stay. When the training ended, the Shrek group dispersed. Yu Xiaogang suddenly spoke. "Zhu King, stay behind, I need to ask you something." A look of confusion flashed across Zhu King's face. But she still nodded and stayed. After everyone else had left, Yu Xiaogang finally spoke. "Zhu King, if I'm not mistaken, you should be a member of the Zhu family from the Star Luo Empire, right?" As soon as these words were spoken, the pupils in Zhu King's cold eyes suddenly contracted, and a trace of shock that was hard to conceal appeared on her face. She hadn't expected Yu Xiaogang to actually guess her identity. But she didn't stop to think. Looking across the continent, besides the Star Luo Zhu family, who else possessed the Hell Sivet spirit? Yu Xiaogang took in her reaction entirely, and a calm, knowing smile appeared on his face. He stood with his hands behind his back, deliberately adopting the posture of someone who saw through the world. No need to be surprised. A spirit and a surname inherently explain many things, especially with a signature agility attack system spirit like the Hell Sivet. If I couldn't even guess your identity, I wouldn't be worthy of being called Grandmaster. Hearing the word Grandmaster, Zhu King's cold face twitched slightly, and the look she gave Yu Xiaogang was filled with strangeness. "Just a few days ago, your face was almost beaten swollen by Yang Yuan. And you still call yourself Grandmaster? Alas, truly pathetic." Noticing Zhu King's gaze, Yu Xiaogang instantly guessed what she was thinking, immediately felt embarrassed, and was secretly annoyed. "Damn Yang Yuan, this is all your fault." However, in order to persuade Zhu King to put aside her grievances and perform the martial soul fusion skill with Dai Mubai, he could only take a deep breath and suppress the anger in his heart. "I have also heard about the cruel competition within the Star Luo imperial family. If I'm not mistaken, you fled Star Luo precisely to escape that brutal family competition. Or perhaps to find a sliver of hope in desperation. And Dai Mubai should be your fiancé." Yu Xiaogang slowly paced, returning to a calm expression. Zhu King's beautiful face was icy cold, and she stared coldly at Yu Xiaogang. "What exactly do you want to say?" Yu Xiaogang met her gaze and said solemnly, "Zhu King, since you traveled thousands of miles to find Mubai, why are you unwilling to perform the martial soul fusion skill with him? You should know the fate of those who fail the competition within the Star Luo imperial family. Without the martial soul fusion skill, you and Mubai have absolutely no chance of winning. I specifically had someone gather contemporary information on the Star Luo imperial family. Your older sister Zhu Jian and Mubai's older brother Dai Weisi not only far surpass you in spirit power rank, but more importantly, they have long mastered the Hell White Tiger, a top-tier martial soul fusion skill. And what about you two? Forget about performing the martial soul fusion skill. You don't even have basic trust and understanding, let alone spiritual connection." Speaking up to this point, Yu Xiaogang stopped packing. He shook his head, looking at Zhu Zhuqing with a hint of pity. So Zhuqing, listen to my advice. Put down your unnecessary emotional burdens and pride. Talk properly with Mubai, try to trust, to coordinate, and to master the power that belongs to you both. This is also the fastest way to become stronger, and it is your only chance. The air seemed to solidify at this moment. After listening, Zhu Zhuqing did not immediately reply to Yu Xiaogang. Yu Xiaogang was not anxious. He believed Zhu Zhuqing would eventually see the light. What he was worried about was, there was less than a year left until the All-Continent Advanced Spirit Master Tournament. Could Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai master the martial soul fusion skill before the tournament arrived? This was also the ultimate trump card for their team in the Soul Master Tournament. However, after a long period of consideration, Zhu Zhuqing's expression was firm as she spoke softly. Grandmaster, you don't need to persuade me, although what you said makes sense, I refuse. The expression on Yu Xiaogang's face suddenly froze, and he looked anxiously at Zhu Zhuqing. Zhuqing, are you crazy? Don't you know you are acting impulsively? This doesn't just concern the life and death of you and Mubai, it also relates to the future of our team. Obviously, the last sentence was what Yu Xiaogang truly cared about. Zhu Zhuqing glanced indifferently at Yu Xiaogang, ignoring the small calculations in his mind, and simply left a final remark. Grandmaster, I know exactly what I'm saying, but this is my decision. Even if destiny comes calling one day, I will not change it. After speaking, Zhu Zhuqing bowed to Yu Xiaogang, turned and left, leaving Yu Xiaogang only with an aloof and cold silhouette. Watching her silhouette disappear, the expression on Yu Xiaogang's face could no longer hold up. He kicked the ground in a burst of frustration. Stupid, unbelievably foolish. Ruining my great plan. Chapter 108 Zhu Zhuqing transfers classes. Leaving the training ground, she had returned to her dormitory before she even realized it. Just as she was about to push the door open, the door to the neighboring dormitory suddenly opened. You're back. The person who spoke was Meng Yuan. As the only two girls from Shrek Academy, they were naturally assigned to adjacent dormitories after joining Heaven Du Academy. Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly to acknowledge her, then pushed open her own door. Her expression right now was somewhat heavy, as if she were weighed down by some worry. Otherwise, even though she didn't like to talk much, she would usually respond to Meng Yuan with a few words. Sensing that something was wrong, Meng Yuan looked slightly surprised. It seems like you have something on your mind. Did that guy Yu Xiaogang say something to you? In private, Meng Yuan couldn't even be bothered to call him Grandmaster. She had zero respect for the guy who blindly made her run around carrying rocks like a fool to train her physical fitness. Zhu Zhuqing forced a smile and shook her head. Don't worry, I'm fine. Despite what she said, Meng Yuan became even more convinced of her own thoughts. It must be that old guy Yu Xiaogang who said something to Zhu Zhuqing. Otherwise, why would her mood look so unstable? Because there were only 3 girls in the team, after getting along for a few months, their relationship was decent enough. Especially when they were still at Shrek Academy, they even shared a dormitory. Meng Yuan had just been scolded by Yu Xiaogang at the training ground not long ago, and was currently dissatisfied with him. Now, seeing that Zhu Zhuqing had seemingly encountered the same situation as her, she immediately felt a sense of shared indignation. So she walked out of her door and, without a word, grabbed Zhu Zhuqing by the wrist. Zhuqing, come with me. After saying this, Meng Yuan pulled the stunned Zhu Zhuqing into her own dormitory and poured her a glass of water. No matter what that guy Yu Xiaogang said to you, don't take it to heart. I think those people outside are right, he is just a good-for-nothing. He doesn't have the ability to be a grandmaster. When mentioning Yu Xiaogang, her tone carried an undisguised resentment, pouring out all the frustration she had been holding in these past few days. Look at what he makes me practice every day. It's either running with weights or various physical training exercises. Where can I not practice these? Actually, I know that he looks down on my talent to some extent. He thinks that with his ability, he should be teaching geniuses like Tang San, Zyro Wu, and Oscar. Speaking of this, a look of disdain flashed across Meng Yuan's face. However, I've finally figured it out. He is just a self-important good-for-nothing with high ambitions, but a pathetic fate. He really thinks that Tang San and the others' current achievements are all thanks to him. Little does he know, geniuses like Tang San and the others would still have achieved what they have today even without him. After this outburst, Meng Yuan immediately felt much more at ease. She then looked at Zhu Zhuqing and asked curiously, "Zhuqing, with your talent, what made you think of joining Shrek Academy in the first place?" In fact, the Hellsivet spirit was unique to the Star Luo Zhu family, which was no secret. However, spirit masters on the Douluo Continent generally looked down on theory, which led to even descendants of prominent families like Meng Yuan not knowing about Zhu Zhuqing's background. Seeing Meng Yuan ask about her, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but think of the cruel struggles within the Star Luo imperial family and sighed. I suppose it was just a twist of fate. Back then, Zhu Zhuqing had also held great expectations for Dai Mubai. But the greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. She was greeted by a Dai Mubai who only knew how to indulge in debauchery and carousing. On the outskirts of the Stardew Great Forest, set against the backdrop of Yang Yuan, the people of Shrek looked like clowns who bullied the weak and feared the strong. When the royal fighting team went to Shrek Academy, she even witnessed Dai Mubai's ugly behavior after learning of Ning Rongrong's identity. These various behaviors created a rift in her heart, making it impossible for her to complete the spirit fusion with Dai Mubai. Beside her, Meng Yuan asked skeptically, "Zhuqing, you aren't Yu Zhairogang's disciple like Tang San, nor do you have deep feelings for Shrek like Little Ao and the others, so why not transfer classes?" "Sister Yuan, haven't you also chosen not to transfer?" Zhu Zhuqing didn't answer directly, but asked Meng Yuan in return. Meng Yuan said quite frankly, "If it weren't for Little Ao, do you think I would want to stay here? You know, I still have to take Little Ao back to my family. If I'm not here, what if he gets snatched away by some other vixen?" This wasn't Meng Yuan being alarmist. Even though Oscar usually hung around with Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun, his talent was undeniable. He was the only food system genius with innate full spirit power on the continent today. If he wanted to, there would truly be a crowd of girls in this Heaven Do Academy trying every way to seduce him. Zhu Zhuqing realized, and a complex emotion flashed across her face. There was excitement, hesitation, and conflict. Everyone knows about Yu Zhairogang's teaching ability. Although she wouldn't go as far as Meng Yuan to think that Yu Zhairogang was a good-for-nothing, she certainly didn't think he taught very well either. The most important point was that Zhu Zhuqing felt Yu Zhairogang seemed to place too much importance on the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy tournament. They were currently at the best time to cultivate spirit power, but Yu Zhairogang spent a large amount of time on actual combat and team coordination. Zhu Zhuqing personally felt that this seemed to be putting the cart before the horse. Shouldn't a spirit master prioritize the spirit power level? Moreover, their little group was not old, and they could completely wait until the next Soul Master tournament to participate. There was plenty of time to hone actual combat and team coordination. However, Yu Zhairogang seemed to have completely failed to consider this. He desperately wanted to use the results of the Soul Master tournament to wash away his own shame. Meng Yuan noticed the look of intent on Zhu Zhuqing's face and said mysteriously, "I've been asking around for information about Heaven Do Academy these past few days. Guess what I found out?" "What did you find out?" Seeing her mysterious expression, Zhu Zhuqing immediately looked curious. She spent most of her time on cultivation and knew nothing about outside affairs. "You should still remember Yang Yuan, right?" "Yes, is the information you obtained related to him?" Zhu Zhuqing nodded, and the image of Yang Yuan appeared in her mind. She had a deep impression of Yang Yuan but knew very little, only that his talent was far stronger than Tang San's, that he was a genius without equal throughout history, and a 12-year-old spirit emperor. Many times, Zhu Zhuqing wondered if she had Yang Yuan's talent, she would be able to firmly grasp her destiny in her own hands. Meng Yuan then shared the information she had gathered with Zhu Zhuqing. Especially after hearing that every student who had received guidance from Yang Yuan had made significant progress in their strength, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes brightened, and she blurted out, "Is it really that magical?" Meng Yuan shook her head and said, "What I heard is only even more exaggerated than what I just told you." You've seen the royal fighting team's matches, right? Look at the members, they are only at rank 30-something, but they can suppress those at rank 40-something. I heard it was all taught by him. Also, a while ago, the 5 Elements Academy came to Heaven Do Academy for an exchange, and it said that the geniuses from those academies were scrambling to get guidance from Yuan. Upon hearing this, the look of intent in Zhu Zhuqing's eyes became even stronger. But soon she shook her head again, and a look of disappointment flashed across her face. Even if I wanted to transfer classes, I'm afraid it wouldn't be that easy. I only just barely broke through to rank 29 these past 2 days. According to the rules, I should be in a Heaven tier class. It's already an exception that the Academy allowed me to be in Heaven Do Class 4. How would they easily agree to my request to transfer? That is true, Meng Yuan rubbed her chin, then suddenly her eyes lit up. Zhuqing, why don't I help you ask? This, will it work? Zhu Zhuqing asked, slightly hesitant. Leave it to me, no matter what, my grandparents have some face in the Heaven Do Empire. Plus, you have talent to begin with, so it might just work. Upon hearing this, a look of excitement flashed across Zhu Zhuqing's face. Then I'll have to trouble you. It's just a small matter, Meng Yuan waved her hand. Not to mention her relationship with Zhu Zhuqing, just looking at the latter's talent, she was well worth the investment. Chapter 109, Yu Xiaogang driven to distraction. A few more days passed. Heaven Do Academy became lively once again. The reason was that Zhu Zhuqing from Heaven Do Class 4 had taken the initiative to transfer to Heaven Do Class 1. On the surface, it seemed like an ordinary class transfer. But at a time when Yu Xiaogang's plagiarism scandal had not yet fully subsided and the Grandmaster, Halo, was shattered. The departure of a core team member was no different from a loud slap to the face, struck hard against his already crumbling prestige. This further confirmed the rumors that he was a waste. After all, if he truly had real talent, why would Zhu Zhuqing transfer to another class? However, this also demonstrated one thing. That is, everyone is more or less double standard. For example, Yu Tianheng had also transferred from Heaven Do Class 1 to Heaven Do Class 4 a while ago. But everyone only thought Yu Tianheng had lost his mind and was a fool to transfer to Class 4, rather than believing Yu Xiaogang's teaching was actually good. Yet, when Zhu Zhuqing transferred to Class 1, everyone shifted the blame entirely onto Yu Xiaogang. They believed he must have been misleading his students. Otherwise, why would Zhu Zhuqing, who was doing well in Class 4, suddenly transfer? Of course, the reason for such a polar opposite reaction was truly because Yang Yuan's reputation in Heaven Do Class 1 was too high, even higher than that of the 3 committee members. Even Qin Ming, the nominal homeroom teacher of Class 1, was a genuine genius, a spirit emperor in his 30s. What did Yu Xiaogang have? A nearly 50-year-old level 29 spirit grandmaster, and his 10 core competencies of spirits that he had obtained through plagiarism. In comparison, Yu Xiaogang naturally lost completely. Inside the Heaven Do Class 4 training ground, the atmosphere dropped to freezing point as everyone looked at each other in silence. In front of them, Yu Xiaogang's expression was livid, his chest heaving violently. Traitor, a short-sighted traitor, a fool who is destroying her own future. His roars echoed in the empty training ground. At this moment, Yu Xiaogang could no longer maintain his pretentious, grandmaster posture. Not just because rumors about him were spreading throughout Heaven Do Academy, but more so because Zhu Zhuqing's transfer meant she had rejected his proposal. One must know that without the Hell White Tiger, the combat power of this team would drop by at least half. Lacking this link, how could he lead the team to make a stunning debut in the Soul Master tournament? How could he wash away the humiliation he bore? Xiaogang, calm down. Flender looked at Yu Xiaogang's frantic appearance, his brow furrowing slightly as he stepped forward to press down on his trembling shoulders. Flender, how can you expect me to be calm? We invested so much in Zhu Zhuqing, and she just left like that without even saying a word. This is betrayal. Yu Xiaogang continued to roar. His appearance made Oscar and Ma Hongzhen in the crowd shrink their shoulders. Flender gave a bitter smile and patted Yu Xiaogang's shoulder. Zyrogang, there's something I didn't tell you. Actually, before that child Zhuking left, she did say goodbye to me. Zyrogang was instantly struck, as if by lightning, then looked at Flender with eyes full of disbelief. She actually said goodbye to you before she left. Wait, she wanted to leave, and you just let her go like that? Flender asked back, otherwise, what right do we have to detain her? Zyrogang was momentarily speechless, but he quickly found an excuse. Only with us can she grow faster. Flender shook his head, looking helpless. Zyrogang, you should know that's just your wishful thinking. Zhuking is a stubborn child. Once she decides on something, no one can change it. So she thinks that I, the great grandmaster, can't teach her. After hearing this, Zyrogang's face turned pale and then flushed, his teeth gritted. Seeing this, Flender shook his head. She never said anything like that. The others present watched the scene with various thoughts. In Tang San's eyes, there was concern for his teacher, anger at Zhu Zhuking's betrayal, and more of an indifferent detachment. In his heart, his teacher's theories might be flawed, but strength and loyalty were the foundation. He had originally thought that since they had shared joys and sorrows for so long, they were considered brothers and friends. He hadn't expected Zhu Zhuking to betray them without hesitation and transfer to Class 1. Beside him, Zyro Wu felt a hint of regret, but no other emotions. Of course, this wasn't because her relationship with Zhu Zhuking was bad. It was because she saw things more simply, thinking that Zhu Zhuking had just changed classes, not left Heaven Do Academy, they would still be friends. Moreover, she didn't actually think Zyrogang's teaching was that good. It was just a case of love me, love my dog. Out of respect for Tang San, she still treated Zyrogang with respect. Among the group, Dai Mubai's reaction was the most intense. His fists were clenched tight, his knuckles cracking, his handsome face clouded with a mix of anger and the humiliation of being abandoned. Since he had been unable to win over Zhu Zhuking for so long, he had indeed planned to give up. But it was one thing for him to give up voluntarily, and another to be abandoned by Zhu Zhuking. Zhu Zhuking's initiative to transfer classes was undoubtedly telling him. From now on, the two of them would have no further relationship. Meng Yuan stood beside Oscar. She looked at Zyrogang's frantic state and lowered her head slightly. Hidden by her falling hair, the corners of her mouth curled up into a satisfied arc that she couldn't suppress. On the other side, during a break in the theory class, Qin Ming introduced Zhu Zhuking to everyone in Class 1. Yang Yuan sat in the corner of the classroom by the window. When he learned that Zhu Zhuking had transferred to Class 1, he was also a bit surprised. To Yang Yuan's left, Du Guyan's gaze swept over Zhu Zhuking, and then she teased Yang Yuan with a smile. Zyro Yuan, look, her gaze drifted toward you just now. Do you think she came here for you? Yang Yuan asked back, isn't that a very normal thing? Du Guyan touched her fair chin and hummed with a smile. I suppose so. This girl looks cold, like the kind of good child who only knows how to train hard. Maybe she really did come for your reputation. I think so too, Yang Yuan chuckled. Zhu Zhuking's talent was likely the weakest among the original Shrek 7 devils, probably around innate rank 8. That she could reach her current level was definitely due to her hard work. While the two were talking, Ning Rongrong, who sat in front of Yang Yuan, stared wide-eyed at the peaks on Zhu Zhuking's chest before looking down at her own planes. She felt inferior and somewhat envious. She had read in books that men all like them big. Chapter 110, Yang Yuan's little classroom begins. All right, go down and find a seat. Qin Ming nodded after Zhu Zhuking finished her introduction. Yes, teacher. Zhu Zhuking nodded slightly, then looked down from the podium, eventually choosing the seat on Du Guyan's left. Seeing her approach, Du Guyan gave her a friendly smile. On the podium, Qin Ming began his lecture. What he was teaching today was the age classification of different spirit beasts in the Stardew Great Forest. After all, for a spirit master to absorb a spirit ring, they must learn to judge a spirit beast's age. Otherwise, a single mistake could lead to their body exploding from exceeding the limit. He spoke for a full hour, providing detailed information and classifications for over a dozen types of spirit beasts. This information was naturally useless to Yang Yuan. The reason he came to class was purely because the 3 committee members had requested him to also give lectures to the students of Heaven Do Class 1 during the theory lessons. The 3 committee members didn't let Yang Yuan work for free. One class was worth 100,000 gold coins. This money was easier to get than by robbery. Of course, this money didn't come from the 3 committee members themselves, but from the families or powers behind the students of Heaven Do Class 1. Yang Yuan took the money and did the job without any ambiguity. A theory class lasted 3 hours. Qin Ming spoke for 1 hour, giving him a bit of a sense of participation. For the remaining 2 hours, the stage belonged to Yang Yuan. Qin Ming didn't leave immediately either. Instead, like an honest student, he sat in another corner of the classroom, sitting upright and waiting for teacher Yang's little classroom to begin. It had to be admitted that what Yang Yuan taught was of great help even to him. Because Yang Yuan's pair of eyes was simply too much of a cheat, he could see through every change in their bodies. Furthermore, everything Yang Yuan taught was pure substance, concise, yet highly effective. Wang Yang, have you been over-meditating these past few days? I told you haste makes waste. Forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Your spirit is the fiery wolf. A portion of the spirit power you meditate on every day remains unabsorbed. This fire-attributed spirit power isn't harmful to you, but it will affect your emotions, making you irritable and prone to anger, causing your subsequent meditation to be twice as hard for half the result. So, just meditate for the duration I told you before. If you want to increase efficiency, you can buy some fruits from the red sun tree. The age of the red sun tree doesn't need to be too high. Between 10 to 50 years is fine. Take 2 to 3 fruits, grind them into juice, and consume them. This can speed up your meditation efficiency. 1 dose can last half a month. Pay attention to the age of the red sun tree. Although your body can withstand fruits from a tree over 50 years old, the effect won't be optimal. Thank you for the guidance, class monitor. After hearing this, Wang Yang felt as if he had received a precious treasure. The scarlet sun fruit wasn't particularly rare. Many spirit masters in the catering industry even grew a few red sun trees themselves. Subsequently, Yang Yuan went through and guided them one by one. So amazing. Sitting to the left of Douluo Yan, Zhu Zhuqing watched this scene on the podium, her small mouth slightly agape. In truth, she didn't know if what Yang Yuan was saying was actually useful, but his confident and composed manner did indeed give her a sense of profoundness that she couldn't quite grasp. Moreover, judging by the reactions of the others, most of what Yang Yuan said was likely truly effective. Douluo Yan heard Zhu Zhuqing's muttered words, and seeing her shocked expression, gave a light chuckle. You made the right choice transferring classes. Little brother Yuan's ability is not something that half-baked Grandmaster can compare to. The reason he knows everyone's situation like the back of his hand, aside from his rich theoretical knowledge, is mainly due to that pair of eyes of his that can see through everything. Eyes, Zhu Zhuqing murmured to herself, subconsciously looking toward Yang Yuan's eyes. Those were double pupils, deep and distant, as if they encompassed everything in existence. Upon making eye contact, Zhu Zhuqing actually had the illusion that her soul was being sucked in by those double pupils, and her heart felt a sense of trembling. Dai Mubai also possessed double pupils, and they were even heterochromatic. However, compared to Yang Yuan's, his double pupils were like decorative items that had the form but lacked a soul. Coming back to her senses, Zhu Zhuqing looked at Yang Yuan's handsome and elegant face. After a brief exchange of glances, she hurriedly retracted her gaze. She could guarantee that she had no feelings for Yang Yuan in her heart, yet at the moment she met his gaze, she still felt her heart race, as if she had been hit by Xiao Wu's charm. This man is truly terrifying. Yang Yuan didn't think that much. He knew how much lethal charm his face currently held for women. On 2 occasions, Emperor Zhu had personally granted him an audience to win over this genius, and had even invited him to attend the royal family banquets. As a result, some imperial concubines had actually cast flirtatious glances at him, right in front of the old emperor. This led to Emperor Zhu not daring to let him come to the palace afterward, instead having Crown Prince Yu King step forward to win him over, sending money, treasures, and noble titles every few days. This resulted in Yang Yuan already being titled an earl, despite having not yet performed any official service. This was even with the fear that there would be no more titles left to grant Yang Yuan in the future. Soon, Yang Yuan finished guiding Qin Ming and once again turned his gaze toward Zhu Zhuqing. "It's my turn," Zhu Zhuqing thought to herself as she met Yang Yuan's gaze. There was a bit of nervousness and anticipation in her eyes, and her heart rate quickened slightly. "You must have undergone some kind of physical training a while ago, right?" Upon hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing was stunned and subconsciously nodded. Yang Yuan continued, "A spirit master's physical strength is far inferior to that of a spirit beast. There's no problem with appropriate physical training. The difficulty lies in the rest and recovery of the body after the training. Additionally, a spirit master's recovery ability is extremely strong. Damage caused by ordinary physical training can be easily recovered from, but if the training intensity is too high and the subsequent recovery is insufficient, there's a risk of causing damage to the body. One can refer to Zhu Yi from Douluo Dalu Roman 2 for this. Yu Xiaorogang's training intensity should be much higher than Zhu Yi's, but since there were medicinal baths and immortal herbs, no problems arose. After Yang Yuan finished speaking, Zhu Zhuqing's face suddenly turned pale. Because she and the others from Shrek had undergone a physical training program under Yu Xiaorogang that lasted for 3 months. And judging by Yang Yuan's tone, she feared that she also had internal injuries. Is there any way to eliminate the internal injuries? Zhu Zhuqing looked at Yang Yuan abruptly, her eyes full of anticipation. "Don't be nervous. It hasn't been long since you did that physical training, so the accumulated damage in your body hasn't turned into old, chronic injuries. It's very easy to solve." Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, thinking of Yu Xiaorogang, who had made them undergo that physical training, a flash of loathing instantly appeared in her eyes. "Then how should I solve it?" Zhu Zhuqing looked at Yang Yuan again, filled with expectation. Under her expectant gaze, a white light full of vitality shot out from Yang Yuan's left eye. This white light instantly entered Zhu Zhuqing's body. Amidst her startled gaze, Yang Yuan gave a calm smile. "All right, it's solved." Chapter 111, Pitfall Shrek Expelled. The moment the white light shot into her body, Zhu Zhuqing trembled all over, a soft, almost uncontrollable moan escaping her lips. That feeling was like an indescribable comfort that permeated her soul. Warm, gentle, yet incredibly pure power instantly flowed through her limbs and bones, reaching every tiny ending of her meridians. This feeling came quickly and disappeared just as fast. It was only for a brief moment. So much so that Zhu Zhuqing was still savoring it now. She looked at her hands. If she hadn't truly felt her entire body become much more relaxed, she might have thought that sensation was just an illusion. Is that it? A look of bewilderment appeared on Zhu Zhuqing's pretty face as she spoke somewhat blankly. Yang Yuan spread his hands and asked with a light laugh. "What else?" "It's truly incredible. I thought it would be very troublesome." Yang Yuan nodded non-committally. "If it was someone else solving your problem, it might be troublesome. After all, this kind of damage is hidden very deep and can't be found without a careful examination, and the treatment is quite complex. But for me, it's just a small matter handled with a flick of the wrist." As soon as these words were spoken, a burst of cheers erupted in the classroom. Just a small matter, as expected of the class monitor. Exactly, no matter how troublesome something is, in the class monitor's hands, it feels like a piece of cake. Qin Ming's eyes flickered. Does Yang Yuan's left eye actually have healing abilities? Healing Zhu Zhuqing's internal injuries with a single glance. This ability is probably stronger than that of most healing spirit masters, right? Healing spirit masters, you think too highly of us. Zhu Zhuqing bowed solemnly to Yang Yuan. "Class monitor, thank you for healing my injuries." Yang Yuan waved his hand casually and said, "My fee for taking action is very expensive, so this time will count as an offset for the guidance." He never helped or guided anyone for free, because doing so wouldn't make others grateful. It would only make your help and guidance seem cheap, unless the relationship was particularly close. This principle was no exception, even when facing Zhu Zhuqing. As it should be. A hint of disappointment flashed in Zhu Zhuking's eyes, but she accepted it calmly. Of course, she would blame this loss on Yu Xiaogang, so her hatred for him grew even stronger. Yang Yuan saw this and nodded faintly. Sit down. Yang Yuan didn't offer guidance to the remaining Du Guyan, Yi Lingling, and Ning Rongrong. For those three, Yang Yuan usually gave them special attention in private. The three of them also enjoyed this favoritism from Yang Yuan. It showed that Yang Yuan ultimately treated them differently from others. After class, Zhu Zhuking returned to her dormitory. Although she had transferred to Class 1, her dormitory hadn't been moved from its original location. 2 hours later, Meng Yuan knocked on her dormitory door. When Zhu Zhuking opened the door and saw it was Meng Yuan, she immediately led her inside. Meng Yuan had put in a lot of effort for her to be able to transfer to Class 1. Otherwise, with her rank, the 3 committee members might not have agreed to the transfer. Thus, Zhu Zhuking was quite grateful to Meng Yuan. As soon as she entered, Meng Yuan asked curiously, "Zhuking, today was your theory class day, right? How did you find it?" "I heard that Yang Yuan gives a lecture in every theory class of Class 1. How do you think he teaches?" Zhu Zhuking nodded vigorously. "Very well, much better than Yu Xiaogang." Seeing Zhu Zhuking's serious expression, a look of surprise appeared on Meng Yuan's face. "If even you say so, then Yang Yuan really is as the rumors say." Meng Yuan knew Zhu Zhuking's personality. If Yang Yuan wasn't like the rumors, she would never be so earnest. "What did he talk about in class?" Meng Yuan was full of curiosity, wanting to know what Yang Yuan had taught in class. Zhu Zhuking then recounted everything that happened in class to Meng Yuan. At first, Meng Yuan was just shocked and sighing, but when she heard Yang Yuan mention the issues with Zhu Zhuking's body, the expression on her face suddenly froze. As a member of the Shrek 7 Devils, she naturally underwent Yu Xiaogang's physical training as well. In fact, she was the one who trained the most. Because Oscar was only a support spirit master, the intensity was far from her standard. Even after coming to Heaven Du Academy, Yu Xiaogang still had her doing physical training. If it weren't for Zhu Zhuking leaving, and the remaining people being unable to form a 7-person team, Yu Xiaogang wouldn't have let her drop the physical training and switch to combat practice with Xiao Wu. After learning the drawbacks of overtraining, Meng Yuan felt a surge of anger rush to her head, and she cursed with a dark face. "What a quack teacher. I might as well not attend his lousy class." Zhu Zhuking advised, "Sister Yuan, in my opinion, why don't you transfer to Class 1 too?" Hearing this, a flicker of intent flashed in Meng Yuan's eyes. She felt she had to have a good talk with Oscar. She really couldn't stay on the Shrek side anymore. Just then, there was a sudden, urgent knocking on the dormitory door. Zhu Zhuking looked over in surprise and stood up to open the door. She saw Xiao Wu standing outside. The moment Xiao Wu saw Meng Yuan and Zhu Zhuking, she spoke hurriedly. "Yuan, you really are here?" Seeing her so anxious, Meng Yuan asked in confusion, "Xiao Wu, you look so worried. Did something happen?" "Yuan, it's bad. Fatty has caused trouble." Ma Hongjun, Meng Yuan frowned. "What kind of mess has he made now? And why come to me if he's the one causing trouble?" Xiao Wu glanced at Meng Yuan and Zhu Zhuking, then sighed and said, "Mainly because Little Ao and Boss Dai are also involved." Meng Yuan and Zhu Zhuking both looked at Xiao Wu at the same time. "What happened? Speak slowly." Hearing this, Xiao Wu said irritably, "Hasn't that guy named Xu Beng been coming to find Boss Dai and Fatty these past few days?" Meng Yuan nodded slightly, her brow still furrowed. "I know about that Xu Beng. He's a playboy prince. Is this related to him?" "Exactly. This playboy has been taking Fatty and the others out to brothels every day. Today they drank too much and are acting like drunken fools in the academy. You know Fatty's personality. When his evil fire flares up, he not only makes lewd comments to passing female students, but even tries to get handsy." The situation escalated and attracted a crowd of other students who attacked them. Seeing this, Little Ao and Boss Dai naturally had to step in to help. They injured several people, but then Yang Yuan happened to pass by and suppressed them with ease. They've made such a big mess this time, I'm afraid they're going to be expelled. What? After hearing Zyro Wu's words, Meng Yuan exclaimed. Expelled? Even Zhu Zhuqing, who was standing by, was shocked. She had only left Shrek for a few days, and such a huge incident had already occurred. Luckily, she had transferred classes. This Shrek is simply a pitfall. Chapter 112. Honor together, suffer together, then expel them all. Time returned to a short while ago, in the main campus area of Heaven-Du Academy. A wide road was crowded with students watching the commotion. In the middle of the crowd, several teachers led by Flender and Yu Xirogang looked at the figures lying scattered not far away, their expressions filled with shock and anger. Because Ma Hongjun, Oscar, and Dai Mubai were all among them. Although they understood the cause and sequence of events, they also felt frustrated by Ma Hongjun's behavior. But seeing the three of them beaten to the point of being on their last breath and unconscious, they couldn't bear to blame them for the moment. Xiao Xin, feed the children a few healing jelly beans first, Flender said with an anxious look. In the crowd, Xiao Xin sighed and walked forward, chanting a spell. In a moment, he fed several jelly beans to the people lying on the ground. In a short while, Oscar and Dai Mubai were the first to wake up, but Ma Hongjun still showed no signs of waking up. After waking up, Oscar and Dai Mubai looked around with confused expressions. The moment they saw Yang Yuan, they suddenly remembered what had happened not long ago. Their faces changed abruptly, and their eyes were filled with terror. In the past few days, the fourth prince of the Heaven-Du Empire, Zhu Beng, had made contact with them. Zhu Beng acted very enthusiastically, and after some conversation, they discovered that they all had common hobbies. Thus, at Zhu Beng's invitation, whenever Ma Hongjun and the others finished class, they would inevitably spend their nights carousing outside. Although Zhu Beng did not hold any power, he was someone who was not short of money. With him paving the way with money and beautiful women, Ma Hongjun was the first to be moved, and within a few days, he had reached the point of calling Zhu Beng brother. After all, Zhu Beng was much more generous than Dai Mubai. He really let him play with the top girls. Dai Mubai and Oscar simply valued Zhu Beng's status, feeling that although his talent was lacking, as the fourth prince of Heaven-Du, associating with him could be considered expanding their network. Thus, the four of them hung out together, tacitly understanding each other. Tang San also belonged to their group, but his heart already held Zyro Wu, which was why he had repeatedly refused Zhu Beng's invitations. And the reason he wanted to get involved with trash like Zhu Beng was naturally because he had the intention to establish the Tang sect in the Douluo Continent. However, establishing the Tang sect required money and also required opening up channels to sell hidden weapons. Therefore, he set his sights on Zhu Beng. Originally, everything was moving in a good direction, but Tang San did not expect that after only a few days, such a mess would occur. After drinking flower wine, Zhu Beng and his group actually used the alcohol to incite Ma Hongjun to confess his love to a passing female student in public. Originally, confessing was a small matter, but who would have thought that Ma Hongjun's evil fire would go to his head, and after being rejected, he actually thought about molesting that female student, and even seriously injured the students who came forward to help. As a result, it attracted the passing Yang Yuan, and one by one, they were all suppressed by him. Seeing Yang Yuan, Oscar and Dai Mubai trembled all over, their butts subconsciously scooting backward while sitting on the ground. On both sides of their faces, there were still purple-black slap marks that were swollen high. The three committee members had also arrived upon hearing the news at this time. The three, having learned the full story, sighed, and the looks they directed at Flender and his group carried a hint of disappointment. Such looks made Flender feel very uncomfortable. After all, he had brought the Shrek group to merge into the Heaven-Du Academy, but in less than a month, so many problems had occurred one after another. Not to mention the three committee members, even he had not expected this. Flender looked at Meng Shenji and the other two with an apologetic face. Three committee members, my disciple is unruly and has caused you trouble again. Meng Shenji and the other two looked at each other and shook their heads. Teacher Flender, this child didn't cause trouble for us, but for the other children in the academy who want to cultivate properly, he caused trouble, big trouble. Upon hearing this, even though Flender had a very thick skin, looking at the angry gazes cast from all directions, he also felt a wave of embarrassment. If not for the fact that Ma Hongjun was currently beaten unconscious, he feared he would have already kicked him a few times. But Ma Hongjun was his personal disciple, so he could not be irresponsible. He said with a bitter face, "3 committee members, we are willing to compensate. Any amount is fine, as long as you can forgive Hongjun this time." As he spoke, his gaze looked toward a delicate and petite young girl, standing in the crowd next to Yang Yuan and Du Guyan. She was the victim who had been harassed by Ma Hongjun. As long as she could forgive Ma Hongjun, there would still be room for maneuver. However, the girl stood there without saying a word, clearly having no intention of forgiving Ma Hongjun. Meng Shenji looked at the girl's appearance, sighed and said, "Flender, I am very sorry that I cannot help you this time. This incident is too egregious. I must severely punish Ma Hongjun, otherwise there will be a second and third incident in the future." If this had been a few years ago, for the sake of Ma Hongjun's talent, Meng Shenji and the others might have really compromised. But now, due to the appearance of Yang Yuan, everything in the Heaven Do Academy was moving in a good direction, and geniuses were gradually emerging like bamboo shoots after spring rain. Over the past few years, the quality of students had improved a lot. Thanks to the good atmosphere of the Heaven Do Academy, many talented disciples from large families were also willing to join the academy. Therefore, Meng Shenji could not ruin the whole pot of porridge because of one mouse dropping. After hearing this, Flender's face sank. Committee member Meng Shenji, since that is the case, I wonder how you intend to deal with Hongjun. Meng Shenji took a deep breath and solemnly spat out 2 words. Expelled. What? As soon as the word expelled came out, the Shrek group immediately exploded, and Oscar and Dai Mubai ignored the pain on their faces and bodies, suddenly looking at Meng Shenji and the other 2. They didn't expect that for just such a small matter, Meng Shenji would actually want to expel Ma Hongjun. Isn't it just molesting a female student? This punishment is way too heavy. The expression on Flender's face also instantly stiffened, his brows furrowed tightly. Committee member Meng Shenji, isn't this punishment too heavy? Meng Shenji shook his head and said, "This punishment is not only because Ma Hongjun harassed a female student, but also includes him seriously injuring several other students." As soon as these words were spoken, Dai Mubai, who was sitting on the ground, forced himself to stand up. "We also took action just now. If you want to expel Fatty, then expel us together." Dai Mubai seemed to be talking about brotherly loyalty, but in reality, he was retreating to advance, betting that Meng Shenji wouldn't dare to expel them for the sake of their talent. When Oscar saw this, he instantly guessed Dai Mubai's thoughts and quickly spoke up. "Boss Dai is right, and I also took action. If you want to expel, then add me." Yu Zairogang looked at Tang San on the side and signaled to him. Ma Hongjun was a genius he valued. If he was expelled, who would he use to replace Ma Hongjun? Tang San saw this, understood his teacher's meaning, and said calmly, "3 committee members, Shrek 7 devils, honor together. Suffer together. If you want to expel Fatty, then expel us all together." You. Looking at their expressions, how could the 3 of them not know that they were threatening them in reverse? They admitted that they were a bit disgusted, their faces turning black. After all, expelling one Ma Hongjun was fine. But Oscar and Tang San were geniuses that even they valued. But looking at the shamelessly unfazed appearance of those few, they felt a sense of helplessness. But at this moment, a clear voice rang out. Not far away, Yang Yuan suddenly stood out. "Since they want to leave so badly, then let's fulfill their wish. Heaven Do Academy is not short of the likes of them." Chapter 113, Parting Ways. As the words fell, everyone's gaze shifted over in unison, the reactions on their faces being starkly different. Meng Shenji and the other 2 had just been looking grim due to the Shrek groups, advancing and retreating together, rhetoric, finding it troublesome and feeling a hint of annoyance at being coerced. However, they truly valued the potential of Tang San and the others, and were reluctant to expel them easily, thus falling into a dilemma. Yet as soon as Yang Yuan spoke, the struggle and weighing of options in the eyes of the 3 committee members vanished instantly. They exchanged a tacit look with each other, their eyes filled with decisiveness. Now that Yang Yuan had spoken, what was there left to hesitate about? To this day, Yang Yuan's influence and contribution to the academy were not the least bit inferior to the three of them. In some respects, his importance even surpassed that of the three committee members. Therefore, his words held a higher priority than theirs. Yang Yuan had spoken for the Shrek people to get lost. Then they would not be able to stay. What Chief Yang Yuan says is reasonable. Since you have decided to share both honor and disgrace, then we shall fulfill your wish. Meng Shenji coughed lightly, the gloom on his face quickly replaced by a businesslike indifference. He looked around, finally settling his gaze on the Shrek group, his voice steady and powerful. Heaven Do Royal Academy welcomes every genius, but it will not break the Academy's rules for a few specific geniuses. Principal Flender, aside from Ma Hongjun, those who wish to stay are welcome. Those who do not wish to stay, we will not force to remain. Meng Shenji paused. When he addressed him as Principal Flender instead of Teacher Flender, it already explained a great deal. Then he continued. Additionally, although Oscar and Dai Mubai did not harass female students, they participated in injuring other students. Therefore, if they choose to stay, they must accept the Academy's punishment. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of the Shrek group changed drastically. They looked at the three committee members, their faces full of bewilderment. Wait, you're actually kicking us out? Just for a few ordinary students, you're going to drive away geniuses like us? What made them feel even more humiliated was that among the surrounding students, someone started a chant, and soon everyone joined in. Shrek scumbags, get out of Heaven Do Academy. Shrek scumbags, get out of Heaven Do Academy. The slogans, filled with contempt and expulsion, surged from all directions like a tsunami, instantly drowning the Shrek group. Flender's expression was ashen. The current Shrek was as wretched as a stray dog. A thought flashed through his mind. If only he hadn't listened to Xiaogang back then and stayed in Suichu City, how good would that have been? He looked at the disgusted gazes coming from all around, and finally let out a long, powerless sigh. He knew that they could no longer stay at Heaven Do Academy, otherwise it would be no different from seeking their own humiliation. At that moment, Meng Shenji coughed lightly, and an invisible wave of spirit power spread out. Quiet down, everyone. With the committee member speaking, the heckling voices around them vanished instantly. Meng Shenji nodded slightly and then looked at Flender. Principal Flender, what is your decision? Flender's gaze swept over the Shrek group. Finally, with a bitter smile, he cupped his hands toward the three committee members. Three committee members, we have caused you trouble during these past days. With Flender saying this, Meng Shenji and the others also knew his choice. The three did not try to persuade him otherwise, only sighing and giving him a piece of advice. Principal Flender, while a student's talent and strength are important, one must not neglect their character. I have taken it to heart, Flender nodded slightly. After speaking, he said to Zhao Wuji, take Fatty, we're leaving. His voice was hoarse, carrying a hint of loneliness. Zhao Wuji stepped forward, grabbed Ma Hongjun, and followed behind Flender. Following them were Yu Xiaogang, Tang San, and the other teachers and students of Shrek Academy. Watching their receding backs, the surrounding students erupted into a burst of enthusiastic cheers. The three committee members shook their heads slightly, a hint of regret in their eyes. What a pity for the talent of these Shrek people. Fortunately, they still had Yang Yuan. Yang Yuan alone was worth the sum of all of them. At this time, Bai Baoshan, one of the three committee members, pointed to several figures still lying on the ground not far away. How should we handle Zhu Beng and the others? The reason Ma Hongjun had caused such a big scene was partly due to their instigation. But Zhu Beng happened to be the fourth prince of the Heaven Do Empire, which made Bai Baoshan momentarily uncertain. Meng Shenji snorted coldly. How else can we handle it? Naturally, tell them to get out of Heaven Do Academy as well. A bunch of playboys and black sheep. I thought they had straightened up, but it seems a leopard can't change its spots. Even though Zhu Beng was the fourth prince, Meng Shenji still didn't give him any face. Female dormitory. Zyro Wu had just walked out of the female dormitory with Meng Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing when they encountered the incoming Shrek group. Upon seeing them, Zhu Zhuqing frowned slightly, though she still stood quietly in place. Zyro Wu hurriedly stepped forward to ask, "How is it, will Fatty and the others be expelled?" Flender hesitated to speak, but finally it was Tang San who said, "Not just Fatty, we've all been expelled together." Meng Yuan frowned, her gaze falling on Oscar. On both sides of his face, purple-black handprints were clearly visible. When he noticed Meng Yuan's gaze, he lowered his head guiltily. Meng Yuan had told him more than once to stay away from Zhu Beng and the others, but he just wouldn't listen, and now he had indeed caused trouble. Furthermore, there was another reason for his guilt. During these past few days, what he and Zhu Beng's group had done wasn't as simple as just drinking flower wine. After all, he, Ma Hongjun, and Dai Mubai had once been known as the three scoundrels of Shrek, proficient in eating, drinking, whoring, and gambling. Originally, with Meng Yuan restraining him, he had been honest for a while. But Meng Yuan had never let him touch her, insisting that they wait until they were married. At first, he could endure it, but who would have thought that after being led astray by Zhu Beng, he eventually failed to resist and committed the mistake that all men make. Seeing Oscar's guilt, Meng Yuan simply shifted her gaze to Tang San and asked, "What exactly happened?" Tang San immediately recounted the events that had just occurred. After listening, Meng Yuan couldn't help but roll her eyes. What kind of god-awful teammates were these? She finally understood that this group of people from Shrek more or less had some issues. If she continued to hang around with them, something was bound to happen sooner or later. She didn't bother wasting any more breath on Tang San and the others, dropping a single sentence. "Oscar, come over here, we need to have a good talk." After speaking, she turned and walked into the distance. Oscar was stunned for a moment, looked at Meng Yuan, then at Flender's group. After receiving a nod from Flender, he gave a response and followed her. Watching the two of them walk away, Dai Mubai's brow furrowed. Why do I get the feeling that Meng Yuan doesn't want to leave Heaven Do Academy? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. She wouldn't be a traitor like a certain someone, would she? As he spoke, his peripheral vision glanced toward where Zhu Zhuqing was. To his surprise, the latter didn't pay him any attention at all. Before long, intense arguing could be heard from the distance. "Oscar, I'm only asking you one thing. Are you staying or are you leaving with them?" Unsurprisingly, Oscar still chose to part ways with Meng Yuan. Chapter 114, The Little Witch Ning Rongrong. Outside Heaven Do Academy. Ma Hongjun had already regained consciousness, but with his face bruised and swollen, he still looked very weak, his aura listless. Learning that everyone had been kicked out of Heaven Do Academy because of him, he felt terrible, hanging his head while being supported by others. "I'm sorry, it's all my fault. If it weren't for me, everyone wouldn't have been kicked out of Heaven Do Academy." Flender had originally wanted to scold Ma Hongjun a few times, but seeing his self-reproachful expression, he couldn't help but sigh. After all, this was his personal disciple. He could only say in an annoyed tone, "All right, things have already reached this point. It's not just your fault alone. Stop dwelling on it." Standing to the side, Dai Mubai patted Ma Hongjun's shoulder, feigning a heroic air. "All right, Fatty, look on the bright side. We have Shrek share in both honor and disgrace, so what if we were kicked out of Heaven Do Academy? If this place won't have us, somewhere else will. Heaven Do Academy kicked us out for the sake of a few ordinary students. Sooner or later, they will regret today's actions." Tang San also spoke up to comfort him. "Boss Dai is right. We have Shrek share in both honor and disgrace. At worst, we'll just head back to Suituo City." "No." As soon as Tang San finished speaking, Yu Zairogang immediately interrupted him. Everyone turned their gaze toward him. Tang San asked in confusion, "Teacher, if we don't return to Suituo City, we'll have nowhere else to go." Yu Zairogang seemed to have made some sort of decision and took a deep breath. "Who says we have nowhere to go? Isn't that right, Flender?" At this point, Yu Zairogang paused and turned his gaze toward Flender beside him. Seeing this, Flender sighed, his expression complex. I originally thought I was the only one who noticed that recruitment notice. Yu Zairogang said indifferently, I didn't see the notice you mentioned, but I know every academy that is about to participate in the Soul Master Tournament like the back of my hand. And among these academies, Blue Tyrant Academy just happens to be one of them. After saying this, a look of reminiscence instantly surfaced on his face. Blue Tyrant Academy. Hearing this, the other teachers and students of Shrek had a flash of curiosity in their eyes, and they all turned their gazes toward Yu Tianheng in the crowd. Initially, they hadn't expected Yu Tianheng to actually leave Heaven Du Academy with them. After all, Yu Tianheng was different from them. He had already studied at Heaven Du Academy for nearly 10 years. Yu Tianheng had indeed hesitated at first. But at that moment, Yu Zairogang stood up and had a private conversation with him for a while. In the end, Yu Tianheng still chose the Shrek side, causing the 3 committee members who received the news to feel a pang of heartache. Seeing the others looking over, Yu Tianheng shook his head. Don't look at me, I don't know anything about this so-called Blue Tyrant Academy. Perhaps it was established by some spirit master who admires the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. In Yu Tianheng's heart, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan's reputation was far-reaching and supreme. It was only natural for other spirit masters to admire them. Everyone realized this, but then they looked at Yu Zairogang and Flender with curiosity. From the dialogue between the two, they also sensed something unusual. It seemed there was some kind of connection between the Dean, the Grandmaster, and Blue Tyrant Academy. At this time, Flender shook his head and smiled. No, Blue Tyrant Academy really does have some relationship with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. Yu Tianheng was stunned. If Blue Tyrant Academy had a relationship with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, how could he not know? After all, Blue Tyrant Academy was somewhat famous in Heaven Du City. All right, you'll know when we get to Blue Tyrant Academy. The Dean of Blue Tyrant Academy is an old friend of Zairogang and me. Now that they are recruiting teachers and students, we can just join them. Everyone came to a sudden realization. So the Dean, the Grandmaster, and the Dean of Blue Tyrant Academy had this layer of relationship. After walking for a while longer, Qin Ming, who was walking at the very back of the Shrek group, suddenly spoke. Dean, I think I should go back. Flender looked at his former student and stepped forward to pat his shoulder. Zyro Ming, then let this be where you see us off. I've let you see quite a joke these past few days. Qin Ming hurriedly said, Dean, how could that be? In my heart, you will always be the Dean I respect the most. Flender lowered his hand and laughed heartily. With those words, I am satisfied. Zhao Wuji and the other Shrek Academy teachers also said with smiles, Zyro Ming, don't feel bad. We all wanted to leave on our own. When you have time in the future, you can still come to Blue Tyrant Academy to find us. Seeing that Flender and the other teachers didn't blame him for not coming along, Qin Ming breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, he had also considered the idea of resigning and leaving with the Shrek group. But at the thought that leaving Heaven Du Academy meant he would no longer receive Yang Yuan's guidance, he suppressed the urge to leave together. There was no other way. Yang Yuan's guidance was truly helpful to him. Besides that, there was another reason why he stayed. In the original story, Shrek Academy chose to leave because they were oppressed by Dougu Bo, and Flender felt insulted. But now Shrek was being expelled because of the stupid thing Ma Hongjun did. This was a case of bringing it upon themselves, so Qin Ming naturally wouldn't act like he did in the original story. Dean Flender, teachers. Chen Ming wishes you a smooth journey. Ha ha ha, Zyro Ming, then we'll be off. Heaven Du Academy. The departure of the Shrek group spread like wildfire through the academy. Most students clapped and cheered, praising the fairness and decisiveness of the 3 committee members. And also expelled along with them were 4 noble playboys, including Zhu Beng. It was said that when these few were picked up, they were escorted away by their families using rattan canes and horsewhips, crying out for their parents as they were beaten. After all, which Heaven Du Noble didn't know that Yang Yuan was a hot commodity now. As a result, these few fools didn't think about how to build a good relationship with Yang Yuan, but instead spent all their time fooling around with Zhu Beng. Now they had been directly expelled from the academy. On the other side, Yang Yuan, Dougu Yan, Yi Lingeling, and Ning Rongrong were sitting together in a quiet courtyard. Those Shrek nuisances have finally gotten out of our Heaven Do Academy. If you ask me, we shouldn't have recruited them in the first place. Ning Rongrong picked up the steaming teacup in front of her, took a small sip, and looked completely at ease. Yang Yuan chuckled and said, "You're so eager for them to leave, did they provoke you?" Ning Rongrong nodded as if it were only natural, then raised her snowy white chin and said, "Of course, especially that lecherous tiger. When I went to Shrek Academy before, he was staring at me with those perverted eyes. I found someone to teach him a lesson then, thinking he would behave and stop his wishful thinking. I didn't expect that even after coming to Heaven Do Academy, he still hasn't changed his nature and even dared to harass me." As she spoke, Ning Rongrong paused, her tone carrying a bit of disgust. "It's just that it wasn't convenient for me to find people to take action within Heaven Do Academy. Now that he's stepped out of this gate, see if I don't find someone to deal with him. This time I must give him an unforgettable lesson." Hearing her fierce tone, the three people present all began to mourn for Dai Mubai. Of all the people to provoke, he just had to provoke this little witch, Ning Rongrong. Chapter 115, Countdown to the Soul Master Tournament. To the side, Dougu Yan let out a charming laugh. "Rongrong, I see that Dai Mubai's talent isn't weak. He's even a bit stronger than you Tianheng. Plus, he's handsome and so devoted to you. Won't you consider him?" Ning Rongrong rolled her eyes at Dougu Yan and then gave a purr of disdain. "Him devoted? Does he really think his little scheme can be hidden from me? Does he truly believe I don't know the white tiger spirit is the symbol of the Star Luo Empire's imperial family? The reason he keeps pestering me is simply because he's eyeing the strength of my 7-treasure glazed tile school, wanting to use it to seize the next Star Luo throne, isn't it?" Ning Rongrong sneered, having seen through Dai Mubai's intentions perfectly. One must know she was no longer that ignorant little witch from the original story. At Heaven Do Academy, she had received a systematic education, so naturally, she wasn't completely ignorant of the common knowledge in the Spirit Master's world. Therefore, from the moment she saw Dai Mubai release his spirit at the Suichu City Great Spirit Arena back then, she had already recognized his identity. Just as her use of the 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda would allow others to recognize her identity as well. And besides Dai Mubai, she also knew Zhu Zhuking's identity clearly. Dai Mubai was ignoring his own fiancée and instead setting his sights on her. At this point, how could Ning Rongrong not guess the little scheme in his heart? Yang Yuan looked at Ning Rongrong in surprise and teased with a smile. "Not bad, Rongrong, you actually have a brain like that. I underestimated you." "Hitey. Hearing this, Dougu Yan immediately burst into a laugh that sounded like a goose. Even the habitually quiet and silent Yi Lingeling had the corners of her lips curl up in a slight, subtle arc. Ning Rongrong, on the other hand, went wah in frustration, turning around and lunging at Yang Yuan, scratching and clawing at him. "Yang Yuan, how dare you say that about me? I'm going to kill you." After a while, Ning Rongrong still had no intention of stopping, her head buried in Yang Yuan's chest, rooting around like a little pig. The three people present immediately sensed something was wrong. Dougu Yan's face darkened as she looked at Ning Rongrong crossly. "Fine, so this is what you were waiting for." After saying that, she reached out and pulled Ning Rongrong out of Yang Yuan's arms. A look of regret flashed in the latter's eyes, but when she looked at Dougu Yan's annoyed face, she immediately showed a triumphant expression. "He didn't expect that, did you?" Not to mention, doing this right in front of Dougu Yan and Yi Lingeling was truly quite thrilling. Yang Yuan watched the scene with interest, opening his arms toward Ning Rongrong as if to stir up trouble, and teased with a chuckle. "Rongrong, if you want a hug, just hug. There's no need for all those fancy tricks. Come, I'll let you hug to your heart's content." Ning Rongrong's eyes lit up, and she was about to agree, but a seductive voice full of threat suddenly rang out from the side. "You dare?" For a time, the sound of cheerful frolicking echoed in the courtyard. As time passed, since the Shrek teachers and students had left, Heaven Do Academy had returned to its normal routine, and nothing unusual had happened for the next few months. At the same time, the start of the Soul Master tournament drew closer and closer, with only half a year left. However, during this period, the strength of everyone in Heaven Du Class 1 had also undergone a leap under Yang Yuan's guidance. First was the original royal fighting team. Except for Ning Rongrong, who had only advanced to rank 34, all other members had been promoted to spirit ancestors. Among them, Dougu Yan had even broken through rank 50, and with Dougu Bo's help, obtained her 5th spirit ring, becoming a spirit king in one fell swoop. As for Yang Yuan himself, he had already reached rank 69. Before the Soul Master tournament began, he would surely be able to break through rank 70. The training grounds. All the students of Heaven Du Class 1 gathered here, with Yang Yuan standing in front of them. Yu Feng said with a beaming face, "Class monitor, what orders do you have for calling everyone over?" Everyone also looked at Yang Yuan with curiosity. Yang Yuan smiled casually and said, "It's nothing major. It's just that the Soul Master tournament starts in half a year, and the 3 committee members asked me to divide the teams. You should know that our Heaven Du Academy can have 2 teams. The main team is directly seeded into the finals, while the vice team has to play in the regional qualifiers and the promotion matches. Anyway, the final championship is destined to be our Heaven Du Academies. As for the process, the important thing is to participate, so you guys decide for yourselves. I'll give you 10 minutes to give me a plan on who wants to go to the main team and who wants to go to the vice team. I have only one requirement. Let this Soul Master tournament become an internal battle for our Heaven Du Academy." Yang Yuan's confidence made the members of Class 1 cheer. As expected of the class monitor they admired, he was just that confident. Although the Soul Master tournament hadn't even started yet, the championship position had already been decided in advance. But thinking about the class monitor's strength, if they couldn't even win the championship with him, it would truly be against all reason. However, their enthusiasm soon faded quite a bit. Because the class monitor had just said it. What he wanted was for this Soul Master tournament to become an internal battle for Heaven Du Academy. This meant that the class monitor hoped the Heaven Du Vice team would also break into the final round. This was no easy task. After all, there were hidden talents in the Soul Master tournament, especially in the Spirit Hall, where prodigies emerged in large numbers. Without Yang Yuan leading them, no team could guarantee a victory over the Spirit Hall battle team. In a short while, a wave of discussion erupted on the training grounds. 10 minutes later, after some discussion, Dougu Yan unsurprisingly became the captain of the Heaven Du Vice team. Because Yang Yuan and Dougu Yan couldn't be on the same team. Otherwise, relying solely on the strength of the others, they would be far from reaching the level of standing above all others. As for the other members of the Heaven Du Vice team, they were Shimo, Zhu Zhuking, Ning Rongrong, Yi Lingeling, Yu Feng, and Oslo, with Zhu Zhuking and Meng Yuan as substitutes. In this lineup, Yi Lingeling was rank 45. The 2 brothers Shimo and Shimo had reached rank 43 in spirit power, and Yu Feng was also at rank 41 and could fly. Although Ning Rongrong was only at rank 34, as a 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda spirit user, her role was immense. Zhu Zhuking and Meng Yuan were weaker, one at rank 32 and the other at rank 33, so they could only serve as substitutes. The members of the Heaven Du main team, where Yang Yuan was located, were as follows. Shi Yue, rank 37 Spirit Elder Spirit, Earthshaking Stone Bear. Yun Luo, rank 37 Spirit Elder Spirit, Green Maple Sword. Zhang Xian, rank 36 Spirit Elder Spirit, Flame Leopard. Source, rank 36 Spirit Elder Spirit, Red Striped Tiger. Lin Baxing, rank 36 Spirit Elder Spirit, Vajra Ape. Wang Yang, rank 36 Spirit Elder Spirit, Fiery Wolf. Yang Yuan also brought 6 teammates, or more accurately, 6 passerby attachments. Because everyone knew in their hearts that as long as Yang Yuan was there, even if his teammates were complete novices, he could drag them to become champions. If it were before, people like Yu Feng and Oslo would have definitely vied to be such attachments. But now, they had become much more indifferent toward this so-called honor. It wasn't that they weren't interested in honor, but rather that they enjoyed the process of obtaining it more. Chapter 116, The Tournament Approaches, Everyone's Visible Progress. Because of the need to prepare for the Soul Master tournament, Yang Yuan's frequency of gidding the members of both the main and vice teams was noticeably faster than usual. The Heaven Do vice team goes without saying, he had individual arrangements for each member. As for the Heaven Do main team, although the other 6 members were just accessories, Yang Yuan didn't want them to merely spectate the entire time. He simply devised a combined attack formation based on the characteristics of the 6 individuals. Through the mutual fusion of their spirit power, they could unleash several times their own combat strength. With Yang Yuan's guidance, this combined attack formation was not difficult to master. With this formation, the 6 of them could even contend with ordinary spirit kings. Additionally, so as not to delay their progress in spirit power, Yang Yuan found the 3 committee members and had them provide some medicinal ingredients. Using Yang Yuan's dual pupils ability to concoct supplementary medicines could only be described as overkill. While he couldn't claim that the medicines he prepared could make their strength advance by leaps and bounds, accelerating their cultivation speed by a few points was more than enough. The 3 committee members, understanding the situation, naturally agreed wholeheartedly. As long as this Soul Master tournament could become an internal battle for Heaven Do Royal Academy, they could accept any cost. At worst, they would just raise tuition fees for the next few years. Time passed, and soon only 1 month remained until the Soul Master tournament. Heaven Do Great Spirit Arena. In a beautifully decorated private room, Yang Yuan stood before a huge floor-to-ceiling window, gazing into the distance. 2 other people stood on his left and right. One was Qin Ming, the nominal homeroom teacher of Heaven Do Class 1. The other was Zhu Qing, the nominal crown prince of the Heaven Do Empire. All 3 of their gazes were fixed on a Daohun platform outside the window. A 7-on-7 spirit ancestor-level team battle was currently underway there. And one of the teams was the Heaven Do Vice team. However, Du Guyan and Yi Lingling from the Heaven Do Vice team did not appear. Instead, Zhu Zhuqing and Meng Yuan took the stage to gain experience. Over the past 5 months, their spirit power levels had forcefully increased by 2 ranks. Moreover, both of their spirit power levels were on the verge of advancing, with hopes of breaking through another rank before the preliminaries officially began. One must know that for a spirit elder, being able to advance 3 ranks in a year was already considered a top-tier genius. It's easy to imagine how terrifying their progress had been in these 5 months. Of course, the increase in spirit power was secondary. The most important thing was the leap in their practical combat ability. Zhu Zhuqing's Hell Sivert Spirit. Under Yang Yuan's guidance, her 3rd spirit skill absorbed a 500-year-old ghost Shadow Cat spirit ring. Therefore, her 3rd spirit skill was not the Hell Decapitation from the original work, but a spirit ability called Shadow Stealth. This spirit ability allowed her to dive into shadows, not only concealing her form, but also enabling her to shuttle and leap during movement, allowing her to assassinate enemies without them noticing. It could be said that with this spirit ability, Zhu Zhuqing's role on the battlefield was even greater than that of an ordinary spirit ancestor. Because once a chaotic battle began, she could immediately lock onto the opponent's support and eliminate them. As for Meng Yuan, to be honest, her 1st and 2nd spirit skills were called Snake Blade and Snake Body respectively, which sounded very ordinary. Both their mechanics and values seemed unremarkable. At most, the Snake Blade carried a bit of venom. Fortunately, her 3rd spirit skill had some offensive capability, so Yang Yuan could only prescribe the right remedy, devising a self-created spirit Snake 1 style for her based on her 2nd and 3rd spirit skills. This staff technique was agile yet powerful, and when combined with her 1st spirit skill for sneak attacks, it could achieve good results. Of course, it wasn't that Yang Yuan couldn't create more powerful spirit skills for her. But the more powerful the spirit ability, the more troublesome it was to cultivate. The inspiration for the Spirit Snake 1 style came from Meng Yuan's 2nd and 3rd spirit skills, which is why it greatly shortened the time she needed to master it, allowing her to increase her combat power at the fastest speed. Although Meng Yuan was only at level 35 now, with this staff technique, she was almost unrivaled within level 40. After all, the gap between ranks for spirit masters on the Douluo Continent was not significant before the Spirit Saint stage. On the Douhun platform, Enning Rongrong stood behind the team, immediately releasing her spirit. 7 treasures, a buff that instantly increased the strength, agility, and spirit power of everyone in the team by 40%. One of the Shimo brothers guarded Ning Rongrong, while the other charged to the front. With his black tortoise martial soul possession, his body stood before everyone like a moving fortress, unflinching even under the attacks of 2 spirit ancestors. Yu Feng and Oslo moved along the left and right flanks, harassing the opponent's sides, feigning attacks on their support spirit masters to draw enemy fire. Meng Yuan confronted the opposing defense spirit master. With her agile movements, though she couldn't win, she made it impossible for the opponent to land a hit. And just as the Douhun platform descended into a chaotic battle, Zhu Zhuqing underwent martial soul possession, and 3 spirit rings, yellow, yellow, and purple, spun up from beneath her feet. Her 3rd spirit ring lit up, Shadow Stealth. The next moment, her figure instantly vanished into the shadows on the ground, moving swiftly. Before the opponent could react, her figure had silently appeared behind their support spirit master, a sharp claw quietly placed on the opponent's neck. "You've been eliminated." A cold voice emanated from her mouth, and the chilling aura from her sharp claws instantly made the support spirit master's legs go soft. Zhu Zhuqing then grabbed the person's clothes and casually flung them off the Douhun platform. The reacting opponents let out shouts of anger and curses, and the agile attack spirit master among them turned and sped towards Zhu Zhuqing. However, the next moment, Zhu Zhuqing's figure once again dove into a shadow, rapidly disappearing from her original spot. Having lost their support at the start, the remaining 6 naturally couldn't withstand the Heaven Du Vice team's offensive and were defeated in just 5 minutes. The people in the private room, seeing this, were already accustomed to it. Over the past 5 months, the Heaven Du Vice team members would come to the Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena every few days to fight a few matches, always without a single defeat. Zhu King smiled and said, "Zyro Yuan, these few have promising futures. If Du Guyan and Yi Lingling were to join, I'm afraid this Soul Master tournament might truly become an internal battle for our Heaven Du Empire." Of course, the Heaven Du Vice team still can't take it lightly. I heard that this year's Spirit Hall team is not simple. Kaian Renxu's face showed a meaningful expression. Although the Spirit Hall's golden generation was deeply hidden by Spirit Hall, as the young lord of Spirit Hall, she had already received information. The 3 members of the Spirit Hall's golden generation had collectively broken through to the Spirit King rank not long ago. Especially the siblings Zai Yu and Hu Liena, who could even perform a martial soul fusion skill. Under these circumstances, it wouldn't be easy for the Heaven Du Vice team to defeat the Spirit Hall team. Yang Yuan knew what she meant and waved his hand dismissively. "Don't worry, the Spirit Hall team won't be able to stir up much trouble. The Heaven Du Vice team is enough to win against them." Haha, with your words, I'm relieved. Chapter 117, Prodigies from All Sides, Gathering in Heaven Du City. As the time for the Soul Master Tournament qualifiers drew closer, some academies from far away had already set off in advance and were arriving at Heaven Du City. This caused Heaven Du City to instantly become bustling. On the streets, one could often see young spirit masters wearing various school uniforms. Heaven Water Academy. The team consisted entirely of clear and refined young girls, dressed in form-fitting water blue school uniforms with silver trim. They always attracted many looks as they walked. Shui Binger and the leading teacher walked at the front of the team. As she looked at the majestic giant city in the distance, a touch of emotion flashed in her eyes. "I didn't expect that after just one short year, we would be back here again. Over the past year, none of us have wasted our time. Perhaps we can try to seize the first place spot in the promotion round." That's right, Heaven Du Academy has 2 participating teams. The main team where Yang Yuan is located goes straight to the grand finals. With our strength, beating the Heaven Du Vice team should be no problem. Behind Shui Binger, Zhu Wu's face was filled with confidence. Their strength had advanced by leaps and bounds during this period, and there were a total of 4 spirit ancestors in the team. Among them, the strongest Shui Binger's spirit power level was as high as rank 45. Combined with their martial soul fusion skill, there should be no suspense in winning the Heaven Do Division Promotion Round Championship. Shui Binja smiled faintly, her snow-white cheeks also full of confidence. In the crowd, Shui Yuya had a look of a total fangirl, her eyes curving as she chuckled strangely. Although she was a clear and refined young girl, she gave off a somewhat lewd feeling. The other girls beside her had long since become accustomed to her behavior and were speechless inwardly. Divine Wind Academy. Feng Xiaoroshan rode on horseback, his expression full of confidence. Regarding the upcoming Soul Master tournament, he was equally determined to win. He couldn't beat the Heaven Do Academy main team, but he could surely beat the other academy teams, right? Not to mention anything else, because the Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes had reached perfection under Yang Yuan's guidance over the past year. He had put all his heart into his Cultivate. Now, his spirit power level was as high as rank 46. Unfortunately, time was too short. If given another year, he might not be unable to break through to rank 50. However, this was enough. With the Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes, plus rank 46 spirit power, it was enough to defeat other teams. Blazing Academy. On the spacious official road, dust flew, and the fiery red banners symbolizing Blazing Academy fluttered. The siblings Hua Wushwang and Hua Wu walked side by side with the leading teacher. Both of their faces were also filled with high spirits. Ha, Heaven Do City, we Blazing Academy, are back. Hua Wushwang laughed, full of vigor. Beside him, Hua Wu's face was also flying with confidence. Thunder Academy. The Thunder Academy group had already entered Heaven Do City. They wore deep purple school uniforms, walking with straight backs and steady, powerful steps. Yu Tiangxin walked at the front of the team expressionlessly, his taciturn nature carrying a hint of faint majesty and arrogance. Boss, with your leadership, our bottom line for this promotion round is at least the top 3. Behind Yu Tiangxin, a bald young man flattered him with a grinning face. Hearing this, Yu Tiangxin's face still showed no emotional fluctuation. Don't relax your guard. Besides Divine Wind Academy and Heaven Water Academy, Blazing Academy is also not to be trifled with. If we encounter them midway, I'm afraid a fierce battle will be unavoidable. The other members of the team all agreed. Among the 5 Elements Academy, except for Elephant Armored Academy, which had been driven out by Heaven Do Academy early on, the team members of the other 4 academies had sparred quite a bit during those 6 months of exchange program, so they had some idea of each other's strength. Although Blazing Academy's overall strength was not as good as Heaven Water and Divine Wind, it was still a tough nut to crack. Meanwhile, Heaven Do City Shrek Academy. Ever since Flender brought the Shrek group to join Blue Tyrant Academy, Liu Erlong, who had always been hands-off, became even less willing to manage things, and directly threw the position of dean to him. Flender was not polite either. After becoming the dean, he directly renamed Blue Tyrant Academy to Shrek Academy. Inside Shrek Academy, on the training ground, Yu Xiaogang looked at the Shrek team members training under his plan, an unavoidable look of worry appearing on his face. Flender and Liu Erlong stood by his side. Liu Erlong wore a green martial outfit that outlined her plump figure, her features were like a painting, and her appearance was beautiful. However, the way she looked at Yu Xiaogang was filled with a look of resentment. She had waited for Yu Xiaogang for over 10 years, and finally waited for him to come. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. However, when facing her, Yu Xiaogang still only knew how to escape. Now, he was even more focused on the Shrek team, not thinking about food or drink all day. Xiaogang, why don't you go take a rest first? Anyway, the children are still young. They can completely wait until the next Soul Master tournament, Liu Erlong persuaded. However, what responded to her were Yu Xiaogang's bloodshot eyes. His voice was hoarse, and his face was even more weathered than a year ago, as if he had aged several years. No, what I want is for them to make a name for themselves in this Soul Master tournament. Although with the growth speed of Tang San and the others, by the next Soul Master tournament, they would definitely be strong contenders for the championship. But at that time, how could it compare to the shock of achieving success now? Sai, looking at such a biased Yu Xiaogang, Liu Erlong and Flender both sighed. They all knew that Yu Xiaogang had been holding his breath. He wanted to let the world know through this Soul Master tournament that he, Yu Xiaogang, was not a waste. He had taught a group of geniuses. Meanwhile, on the training ground, Tang San and Yu Tianheng went back and forth. Behind him, the 8 spider lances, an external spirit bone like 8 spider legs, were frantically attacking Yu Tianheng. Relying on Tang's sect ultimate skills like Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track plus the 8 spider lances, Tang San and Yu Tianheng were actually at a stalemate for a time, neither able to do anything to the other. The two fought for nearly half an hour, finally ending when their spirit power was exhausted. His mysterious heaven skills, so-called endless cycle, was not omnipotent either. To be able to hold out against the rank 44 Yu Tianheng until now was already the limit. Seeing this, a smile appeared on Yu Xiaogang's face. Little Sun actually managed to fight Tianheng to a draw with only rank 38 spirit power, as expected of my disciple. To one side, Tang San smiled modestly and cupped his hands toward Yu Tianheng. As expected of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul, Tianheng, you won this time. Seeing Tang San praise the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul, a smile couldn't help but appear on Yu Tianheng's face, but then he became emotional again. Little San, you are already very strong. I have never heard of any blue-silver grass spirit master who could reach your level, not to mention you haven't used all your means. If you used those miraculous hidden weapons of yours, I'm afraid even I wouldn't be your match. Tang San shook his head. There's no way. Using external items is not allowed in the Soul Master tournament. More than half of a Tang sect disciple's means are in hidden weapons. If he didn't use hidden weapons, Tang San's strength would also be greatly reduced. Of course, to deal with the Soul Master tournament, he still had a trump card. That was the Clear Sky Hammer. Chapter 118, Above the Myriad Daos, the Dominator of Heaven and Earth. Heaven Do City, the top floor of a pavilion nestled in a quiet spot amidst the bustling city. Outside the window, the faint noise of the marketplace could be heard, but inside, there was only the quiet fragrance of incense and the soft sound of simmering tea. Yang Yuan and Qian Renxu sat opposite each other. The latter picked up a translucent white porcelain cup, took a light sip of tea, and raised her eyes to look at the relaxed Yang Yuan opposite her, a hint of curious inquiry flashing in her eyes. Zyro Yuan, she set down the teacup, her voice gentle yet with a hint of casualness. What is your rank now? Qian Renxu remembered clearly that the last time Yang Yuan returned to the academy, his spirit power had already reached an astonishing rank 64. With his talent that far exceeded common sense, and having spent another year and a half of dedicated cultivation, even by the most conservative estimate, he should have improved by 3 or 4 ranks, right? For a spirit emperor, improving by 1 rank in a year was already considered a genius. Even with Qian Renxu's talent, under normal cultivation, she could only improve by 2 or 3 ranks a year. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. Back when she first met Yang Yuan, Yang Yuan was only rank 20, while she had already reached rank 60. Unexpectedly, several years had passed. Yang Yuan was already in his 60s, while she, delayed by government affairs, had only just reached rank 72. Hearing this, Yang Yuan did not answer directly. The corners of his mouth lifted slightly, outlining a mischievous arc, a faint, relaxed smile appearing in his eyes as he deliberately drew out his tone. Guess. Qian Renxu was stunned for a moment, then shook her head and chuckled, with a touch of doting. You? Fine, let your brother guess then. Qian Renxu's slender fingertips tapped lightly on the smooth tabletop unconsciously, pondering slightly. A moment later, she said a number. Rank 68. Yang Yuan chuckled and shook his head. Could it be rank 69? Qian Renxu was shocked. A year and a half, from rank 64 to rank 69. This span was not small. Even if she hadn't been delayed by government affairs, she definitely couldn't have reached this level. However, Yang Yuan still shook his head. Seeing this, Qian Renxu's pupils suddenly constricted, her gaze towards Yang Yuan filled with disbelief, and her voice became a bit dry. Could it be, you have already reached rank 70? Yang Yuan grinned and finally nodded. When did this happen? Kyan Renxu felt like she was dreaming. Did you take some heaven and earth treasure, or did you get a spirit bone from somewhere else? Yang Yuan still shook his head. Seeing this, Kyan Renxu couldn't help but gasp. If she hadn't heard it with her own ears, she would never have believed that someone could break through from rank 64 to rank 70 in just a year and a half solely through cultivation. It should be known that Spirit Master Cultivation has roughly 3 major bottlenecks, respectively, rank 29 to rank 30, rank 69 to rank 70, and rank 89 to rank 90. Many people are stuck at these 3 bottlenecks for a lifetime. Even Kyan Renxu stayed at rank 69 for a full year before breaking through to rank 70. Yet in just a year and a half, Yang Yuan not only broke through from rank 64 to rank 69, but actually broke through the bottleneck from rank 69 to rank 70. This was simply too contrary to common sense. Yang Yuan chuckled. Crown Prince, no need to be so surprised. In fact, I already broke through to rank 72 months ago. After hearing this, Kyan Renxu frowned and scolded. Since you broke through long ago, why didn't you go absorb a spirit ring? You don't believe that stuff about spirit power being storable, do you? Don't you know that the speed at which a spirit saint meditates and absorbs spirit power is far greater than that of a spirit emperor? If you don't absorb a spirit ring now, you are completely wasting time. Yang Yuan watched Kyan Renxu's rare, serious and reproachful expression, but the light smile at the corners of his mouth did not fade, it deepened. Of course he knew Kyan Renxu was right. It's just that. Yang Yuan grinned and said, of course I know that if I don't obtain the 7th spirit ring now, it will slow down my spirit power cultivation speed, but who told me to promise you and the 3 committee members that I would make this Soul Master tournament an internal battle for Heaven Dew Academy? For such an important matter, of course I have to spend more effort on the 2 teams. He shrugged, spread his hands, and a look of indifference appeared on his face. Kyan Renxu was frustrated, pointing at Yang Yuan, her tone rising a bit. You are truly muddled. How can a mere Soul Master tournament compare to you? Looking at Kyan Renxu's genuine expression, Yang Yuan waved his hand and smiled. Crown Prince, don't be so excited. Could I really let my own cultivation progress be delayed? Is that true? Kyan Renxu still frowned, not believing Yang Yuan's words. But Yang Yuan still had a look of certainty, his tone extremely firm. Absolutely true. Kyan Renxu stared at Yang Yuan for a moment before glaring at him and saying irritably, it better be. Yang Yuan chuckled. Of course, he wasn't just saying it casually. For him, the spirit power level cultivation meant nothing. Because even if he didn't cultivate at all, and just let his body absorb the energy between heaven and earth, he could still easily break through to title Douluo, or even become a god. Plenty of god positions would be rushing to offer themselves to him. But Yang Yuan's ambition went far beyond that. What he wanted was not a position in the god realm, but to become the dominator who controls heaven and earth. So for him, spirit power cultivation was secondary. What he truly cared about was comprehending the laws of heaven and earth, rising above the myriad Taos. Holding back and not absorbing a spirit ring was indeed detrimental to cultivation, but he could shift his focus to comprehending laws. Just like now, he had made significant progress in the laws of life, destruction, time and space. For example, with the law of space. With a single thought, he could open up a space of tens of miles. He could traverse the void, teleport instantly. He could create blades from the void and kill invisibly. Even with the law of time, he had achieved some success, able to change the time in a regional area and reverse the passage of time. These abilities, if they were spread out, even gods would be shocked. Yet they were mastered by a mere rank 70 Spirit Master. The day of the opening of the Heaven Dew Division qualifiers for the Soul Master Tournament was drawing near. The teams from various academies arrived one after another, causing the atmosphere in Heaven Dew City to reach its peak. At the same time, Heaven Dew Academy also became lively. Among the 5 Elements Academy, except for the Elephant Armored Academy, the other academy teams, upon arriving in Heaven Dew City, first visited Heaven Dew Academy. After all, they had all received guidance from Yang Yuan, and now that they had come to Heaven Dew City again, they naturally had to pay a visit. At the foot of Heaven Dew Academy, the Heaven Water Academy team and the Blazing Academy team met first. Shui Binja stepped forward to negotiate, her exquisite face carrying a gentle smile. What a coincidence, running into you here. Huo Wushwang laughed heartily. Let's go up together and give Chief Yang a surprise. Shui Binja smiled and nodded. Okay. Chapter 119, Soul Master Tournament Opening Ceremony, Heaven Dew Team appears. The two teams joined together and walked up the steps, the atmosphere quite harmonious, drawing side glances and discussions from many Heaven Dew Academy students along the way. However, when they stepped into the area specifically designated by Heaven Dew Academy for receiving VIPs, they couldn't help but pause in surprise. Inside, the colors of cyan gray and deep purple were clearly distinct. People from Divine Wind Academy and Thunder Academy were actually already there, chatting with each other. Feng Xiaoroshan and Yu Tiangxin were prominently among them. The core teams of the four element academies had, on the eve of the tournament, unexpectedly encountered Heaven Dew Academy. And the target of their joint visit, Yang Yuan, was currently sitting leisurely in the main seat. Seeing Heaven Water Team and Blazing Academy arrive, he smiled and said, I didn't expect you all to come as well. It seems today is truly lively. Chief Yang, Huo Wushwang, was the first to cup his hands in greeting, his voice booming like a bell, his face filled with unconcealable excitement and thrill. Thanks to your guidance, over this past year, my understanding of my own spirit has become increasingly profound, and my practical combat level has made rapid progress. Shui Binja also stepped forward, bowing elegantly, her tone gentle. Chief Yang, we meet again. Thanks to your guidance some time ago, we have benefited greatly. Behind Shui Binja, Zhu Wu and the others also nodded one after another. Shui Yuta even stared straight at Yang Yuan with infatuated eyes, until a light cough sounded from not far away. Shui Yuta subconsciously looked over. It turned out to be Ning Rongrong. Her eyes instantly lit up, and she winked at Ning Rongrong. Yang Yuan sat in the main seat and waved his hand casually. Everyone, since you are here, find a seat and sit down. There is no need to be reserved. Hearing this, the members of Heaven Water Team and Blazing Academy immediately found seats in the living room and sat down. Everyone present was young, and the atmosphere soon became lively. In the living room, the topic quickly turned to the upcoming Soul Master Tournament. Shui Binja asked curiously, Chief Yang, Heaven Dew Academy has two teams. You must be the captain of the Heaven Dew main team, right? That's right, Yang Yuan smiled slightly, not denying it. Hearing this, everyone present revealed a look of relief on their faces. Huo Wushwang, being outspoken, laughed and said, Speaking of which, we really should thank the tournament format for letting the Heaven Dew main team be directly seeded into the grand finals. Otherwise, if we ran into you, Chief Yang, during the qualifiers or the promotion round, we would probably be beaten to the point where we wouldn't even have room to fight back, which would be too discouraging. As soon as these words were spoken, they immediately drew laughter of agreement. Being able to face the insurmountable mountain, that is Yang Yuan a little later, was a stroke of luck for any team aspiring to compete for a ranking. Although they were all prodigies of the younger generation and usually refused to submit to anyone, there was only one exception. That was Yang Yuan. However, Yang Yuan in the main seat shook his head slightly, the corners of his mouth curling into a meaningful arc. Don't be happy too soon. It is only the Heaven Dew main team that is seeded into the grand finals. But the Heaven Dew Vice team still has to start from the qualifiers and fight their way up, one match at a time. The Vice team. Everyone present was slightly stunned to hear Yang Yuan say this. They had stayed at Heaven Dew Academy for a period of time a year ago, and had also sparred with the members of the Royal Fighting Team who had returned from their training. The strength of the few members of the Royal Fighting Team was indeed formidable, especially Du Guyan, whose poison techniques were terrifying. However, Yang Yuan was on the Heaven Dew main team, so Du Guyan and the others should also be on the Heaven Dew main team, right? It's impossible for Yang Yuan to be carrying 6 dead weights by himself. Furthermore, even the members of the four element academies firmly believed that the team Yang Yuan was on would definitely win the Soul Master tournament. Therefore, they also felt that even for the sake of the championship honor, Dougu Yan and the others should have joined the Heaven Du main team. And apart from Yang Yuan, Dougu Yan, and their group, although there was no lack of geniuses among the other students at Heaven Du Academy, their strength was limited, and it would likely be difficult to even scrape together one or two spirit ancestors. Seeing the confused expressions of the crowd, Yang Yuan immediately revealed a meaningful smile. I won't say exactly who is on the Heaven Du Vice team for now, it will be revealed in due time. I hope you won't be surprised. Seeing this expression on Yang Yuan, ripples suddenly arose in the hearts of everyone from the four element academies. Inexplicably, they always felt a sense of foreboding in their hearts. Listening to that tone, could it be? Dougu Yan and her group didn't join the Heaven Du main team, but are instead on the Heaven Du Vice team. No way. At this thought, the relaxed mindset everyone had felt from avoiding the Heaven Du main team instantly tightened again. It seems that the qualifiers and the promotion round will not be as easy as they imagined. In the blink of an eye, the day of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy Tournament opening ceremony arrived. This top-tier grand event, gathering the elites of the Empire, had attracted countless gazes since early morning. In the center of Heaven Du City, that incomparably magnificent Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena had long since dressed up for the occasion. Countless colorful flags printed with the Empire's emblem, and the tournament logo hung down from the highest dome of the Great Spirit Arena, snapping in the breeze. Outside the Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena, the crowds were surging, the streets were empty as everyone had turned out, and the clamor of noise soared straight into the clouds. On both sides of the passage leading to the interior of the Great Spirit Arena and directly to the plaza, the Royal Knights elites had long since cordoned off the area in layers. Their bright armor and sharp long spears reflected cold light in the sunlight, adding to their majesty. Members of the various academy teams had long been waiting outside the Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena. Dong! Just at this moment, a bell chime resounded. Before the lingering echoes of the bell had faded, the passage leading to the interior of the Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena slowly opened inward amidst countless gazes and cheers. Please welcome the teams to enter. The host's impassioned voice resounded from a huge screen outside the Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena, reaching everyone's ears. Instantly, the scene boiled over. Amidst the clamor and countless fervent gazes, Yang Yuan led the members of the Heaven Du main team and vice team, walking with steady steps, and was the first to head toward the entrance of the Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena. The members of Heaven Du Academy were dressed in white school uniforms with gold trim, each one looking spirited and imposing. Yang Yuan walked at the very front, striding like a dragon or tiger, handsome and dashing like a heavenly god, high-spirited like the scorching sun. Countless people cheered for him, yet his face remained calm as an ancient well, revealing only a faint air of majesty. The moment Yang Yuan led his team out of the passage and into the plaza, a rousing battle anthem suddenly rang out, echoing throughout the entire Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena. The atmosphere inside the Great Spirit Arena was instantly ignited. The deafening shouts shook the heavens and the earth, making one's blood boil. The host's voice stood out amidst the wave of shouting. The first to enter is the Heaven Du Royal main team. They are the elites of the Empire and world-renowned prodigies. They have only one goal this time. That is the championship. Cheers for the Heaven Du main team. Chapter 120. Taking their places one after another, Ning Fengzhai thinks of immortal herbs. Heaven Du. Heaven Du. The mountain-shaking, tsunami-like cheers almost brought down the entire Heaven Du Great Spirit Arena. Inside the arena, the gazes of nearly 100,000 spectators burned like torches, all focusing in unison on the young team stepping steadily out of the tunnel. At the head of the team, the leading figure stood tall with deep, double pupils eyes and an extraordinary bearing, completely ignoring the monstrous waves of sound and the intense gazes from the stands. At the same time, in the very center of the arena, a VIP platform stood tall. Upon the VIP platform, in the position with the best view, Emperor Zhu Yi, dressed in a crimson gold robe, and wearing a 9-bend purple gold crown, sat upright in the center. To his left sat a refined middle-aged man with a face as smooth as jade. It was none other than the sect master of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, Ning Fengzhai. He wore a smile, his eyes gentle yet deep, carrying a hint of wisdom. To Ning Fengzhai's left was Qian Rengxiu, disguised as Zhu King. He was intently watching the scene on the plaza below. When he saw Yang Yuan leading the way out of the tunnel, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. His handsome appearance and extraordinary bearing made her couldn't help but recall their first meeting in the Stardew Great Forest. At that time, Yang Yuan was still just a little brat. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, that little brat had grown so tall and handsome. At this moment, Emperor Zhu Yi withdrew his gaze from the plaza below and turned toward the old man sitting to his right, who was dressed in a black robe embroidered with gold patterns. Bishop Salas, what do you think of the bearing of these young talents from my Heaven Du Royal Academy? Hearing Emperor Zhu Yi's somewhat boastful inquiry, Salas remained expressionless. He withdrew his deep gaze from the extraordinary young man below and replied with a forced smile. Isn't your Majesty asking what you already know? These young people from the Heaven Du Royal Academy have extraordinary bearings and are clearly not destined for mediocrity. It seems that in this tournament, Heaven Du Academy is bound to shine brilliantly. Ha 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 ha. After hearing this, Emperor Zhu Yi looked at Salas's gloomy old face and couldn't help but laugh heartily. After all, the Heaven Du Royal Academy was the facade of the Heaven Du Empire. The performance of the Heaven Du teams naturally showcased the majesty of the Heaven Du Empire. Especially since Emperor Zhu Yi had also learned from the Crown Prince. Yang Yuan was expected to turn the final round of the Soul Master Tournament into an internal battle for Heaven Du Academy, which made him feel unprecedentedly excited. Because this meant that the younger generation of the Heaven Du Empire would suppress the geniuses of the Spirit Hall Academy, the Star Lu Empire, and all other kingdoms outside the threshold of the finals. What kind of glory would that be? What kind of deterrence? If that day truly came, it would not only be a victory for Heaven Du Academy. It would be the most powerful proof of the Empire's flourishing luck and the emergence of many talents. One must know that the Heaven Du Empire's national strength had been declining over the years. If not for Spirit Hall's intervention, the Star Lu Empire would likely have mobilized its troops and attacked long ago. Therefore, Emperor Zhu Yi hoped more than anyone that the Heaven Du main and vice teams could charge into the final round and take both the championship and runner-up spots to restore the glory of Heaven Du. The plaza below the VIP platform. When the announcer's voice rang out again, another team wearing white uniforms with gold trim stepped out of the tunnel with high spirits. Yuan walked at the very front, her posture agile and her aura spirited like an unsheathed sword, instantly drawing countless focused gazes. Behind her were Yi Lingling, the Shi family brothers, Yufeng Oslo Ning Rongrong Zhujuking and Meng Yuan. After this period of tempering, they exuded a surging fighting spirit and were full of vigor. From all directions within the Great Spirit Arena, deafening cheers erupted once more. The one in the lead is that poisoned Douluo's granddaughter, Yuan. Emperor Zhu Yi's gaze lingered on Yuan for a moment as he spoke with a smile. Among the 3 committee members of Heaven Du Academy sitting behind him, Meng Shenji replied with a smile. Replying to your Majesty, she is indeed the granddaughter of His Excellency Poison Douluo. She is now a rank 52 Spirit King. In all of Heaven Du Academy, her rank is the highest after Yang Yuan. After Meng Shenji finished speaking, a look of shock instantly appeared on the faces of many around them. How old was Yuan? She was already rank 52. Salah's expression also darkened. As the Platinum Bishop of the Heaven Du City branch, he had naturally heard of Yuan's name. But that was years ago. He never expected that in just a few short years, Yuan would actually break through to become a Spirit King. One must know that the 3 members of Spirit Hall's Golden Generation were also only Spirit Kings now. Besides this, Salas was also puzzled. Why was a genius like Yuan not assigned to the Heaven Du main team? Was Heaven Du Academy so arrogant that they thought Yang Yuan alone could defeat the Spirit Hall team? So what if he was a Spirit Emperor? A pack of wolves can still bite a tiger to death. Although the golden generation of Spirit Hall were only spirit kings, they did not lack records of defeating spirit emperors when working together. Just a mere spirit emperor, while Salas was deep in thought, Emperor Zuyi looked at Dougu Yan's figure. If I remember correctly, Poison Douluo's granddaughter doesn't seem to be 20 years old yet, right? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Meng Shenji smiled and said, still 7 or 8 months away. Hearing this, Emperor Zuyi couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Poison Douluo has a successor. Everyone smiled and chimed in, while Ning Fengzhai looked at the figure walking slightly behind in the Heaven Du Vice team, a flash of gratification in his eyes. Sending Rongrong to Heaven Du Academy back then was indeed the right choice. Otherwise, even with an innate rank 9 spirit power, Rongrong couldn't have reached rank 36 at her current age. With such talent, evolving the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda into an 8 treasure glazed tile pagoda in the future would basically be a certainty. As for wanting to evolve it into the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda, Ning Fengzhai narrowed his eyes, a glint of wisdom flashing within them. A thought flashed through his mind. Perhaps after the Soul Master tournament ended, he should personally pay a visit to Dougu Bo. Of course, it wasn't that he hadn't visited Dougu Bo before, but Dougu Bo had flatly refused him. So this time, Ning Fengzhai planned to try approaching Dougu Yan first. If he could persuade Dougu Yan, things would be much easier. After the Heaven Du main team and Heaven Du Vice team entered the plaza, other teams also entered one after another. Inside the Great Spirit Arena, the shouting was still earth-shaking, but compared to the shock and passion brought by the appearance of the first 2 teams, it had diminished somewhat. And when the 5 Elements Academy entered the plaza and saw the lineups of the Heaven Du main and Vice teams, they all showed expressions of astonishment. Dougu Yan and the others actually appeared in the Heaven Du Vice team. At this moment, they finally understood why Yang Yuan had said what he did. With Dougu Yan leading the Heaven Du Vice team, there was another formidable enemy in this qualifiers and promotion round. Aside from the Kamikaze and Tianshui academies, which still held a last shred of hope, the Thunder and Blazing academies both considered themselves no match for the Heaven Du Vice team. As for the Elephant Armored Academy, it had long been collectively ignored by the other 4 academies. Although they were all part of the 5 Elements Academy, the other 4 academies didn't take Elephant Armored Academy seriously at all. After all the teams had made their appearances, the announcer called out the name of the final academy. Next to enter is the final team of the Heaven Du division. The Shrek Academy team. Chapter 121, First Battle, A Narrow Road for Enemies. The light and shadows at the entrance of the tunnel flickered for a moment. Then a team walked out from within with slightly stiff steps. In an instant, the originally noisy and boiling venue fell silent for a brief moment. Then it was like a drop of cold water falling into boiling oil. What color is that school uniform? Why does it look like crap? My God, so ugly. Is that a school uniform? Why are there even advertisements on it? Shrek, never heard of it. When did our Heaven Du division get such a high-level Spirit Master Academy? Their academy's taste is so bad, actually wearing this crap green school uniform and even putting ads on it. Just how short of money are they? Deafening laughter and unbelievable exclamations instantly replaced the previous cheers and shouts, sweeping through the entire Great Spirit Arena like a tsunami. Nearly 100,000 gazes fell in unison on the Shrek team members, their faces revealing undisguised shock and mockery. For a moment, Shrek Academy actually became the focus of the entire venue. Of course, the members of Shrek Academy probably wouldn't like this feeling of being the center of attention. That intense sense of shame struck their hearts, making their toes grip the ground. They were like being publicly executed, facing the mockery and laughter from all directions. Not one of them raised their head, as if afraid of being recognized. Not just the audience in the stands, even the other teams couldn't help but burst into laughter after seeing Shrek's attire. Who knows whose bright idea this was? The uniforms were already crap green, and they even had toilet advertisements on them, inviting many jokes. On the VIP stand, the atmosphere was equally strange. Emperor Zhu Yi looked at that team, a flash of shock appearing in his eyes. This outfit, appearing at the highest level spirit master gathering on the continent, was truly absurd. This Shrek Academy, why does it sound so familiar? Emperor Zhu Yi's flat tone carried a hint of confusion. After he finished speaking, Meng Shenji immediately spoke. Your Majesty, have you forgotten what happened at Heaven Do Academy a year ago? Most of the members on the Shrek team were the students who were expelled back then. At this point, Meng Shenji sighed and said, these few in the Shrek team are all rare geniuses and are quite young. It's just a pity their conduct is poor, which is why they were expelled. I just didn't expect that their Dean Flender, after being expelled, would take them to join Blue Tyrant Academy and even change Blue Tyrant Academy to Shrek Academy. Hearing this, Emperor Zhu Yi suddenly realized and remembered. Speaking of which, this matter was also related to Zhu Beng, which led to Zhu Beng being expelled from Heaven Do Academy. At the time, Emperor Zhu Yi didn't really care about the matter, thinking it was just a means for the Crown Prince to drive Zhu Beng out of Heaven Do Academy. After all, Heaven Do Academy was Zhu King's territory and a place where the Empire cultivated elites. It was normal for Zhu King not to want to see Zhu Beng in there. However, hearing Meng Shenji mention it again now, a look of regret appeared on his face. As an emperor, as long as talent could be used by him, he didn't actually care if their conduct was upright. And at this moment, in an inconspicuous corner of the spectator stands, Flender was proudly stroking his small mustache, saying to the speechless Shrek teachers beside him, Look at the effect, the focus of the whole venue. Once we win the competition, won't these advertisers be scrambling to find us for ads? As he spoke, the philistinism of a businessman was fully displayed in him. To make money, he could completely disregard face. Of course, the ones feeling uncomfortable right now should be the children standing on the field. Liu Erlong glared at Flender in annoyance. Boss Flender, couldn't you get something more normal? Look at the children, they're so embarrassed they can't even raise their heads. Can face be eaten? Can it be exchanged for gold coins? Flender was not ashamed but proud, puffing out his chest. This is called an investment. Once they use their strength to win the competition, who would dare laugh at these clothes? By then, this will be a symbol of a legend. What nonsense! What if they lose the match? Wouldn't both the inner and outer face be completely lost? Liu Erlong snorted coldly. Flender chuckled dismissively and said, there are 29 teams in the Heaven Do division. Excluding the 2 teams from Heaven Do Academy, with the little freak's strength, even if they encounter the 5 Elements Academy teams, they'd have the strength to fight. I don't believe we're so unlucky to draw Heaven Do Academy on the first day. Speaking of this, the faces of their other Shrek teachers couldn't help but show a smile. The strength of the Shrek team was obvious to them all. Yu Tianheng made a breakthrough a few days ago and has now reached rank 45. This rank could be said to be among the best in the entire Soul Master tournament. Besides Yu Tianheng, Dai Mubai also broke through the rank 39 bottleneck a while ago and absorbed a spirit ring with Flender's help, now being a rank 41 spirit ancestor. Besides the 2 of them, although Tangsan is only rank 38, his array of methods is strange and unpredictable, making even Yu Tianheng find him troublesome. With the 3 of them joining forces, such a lineup in previous sessions would almost certainly guarantee entry into the promotion round. However, the smiles of Flender and the others did not last long. Because after the Shrek team appeared, the opening ceremony entered its final segment. The first battle of the qualifiers. Platinum Bishop Salas would draw lots to randomly select a team to face the Heaven Do Vice team. This has been an old rule since the Soul Master tournament has been held for so many sessions. And the reason Flender and the others' smiles stiffened was very simple. Because Salas' slightly hoarse voice echoed through the Great Spirit Arena. The first match of the qualifiers, Heaven Do Imperial Reserve Team vs. Shrek Team. In the square, the moment the Heaven Do Vice team members heard Salas read out their opponent, cold sneers appeared on their faces. I didn't expect our first opponent to actually be Shrek Academy. It really is a narrow road for enemies. A complex look flashed across the faces of Zhu Zhuking and Meng Yuan. Speaking of which, they were once members of Shrek as well. However, it was precisely because of this that they wanted to prove to the Shrek group, even more, that their choice was not wrong. Zhu Zhuqing and Meng Yuan looked at each other, and then looked at Du Guyan together. "Captain, let us go up in a bit." Du Guyan's gaze lingered on the two for a moment, then she nodded faintly. "All right, you two replace Lingeling and Oslo. This battle is the first match of the Soul Master Tournament and must not be lost." So Du Guyan planned to personally oversee it. After she took the immortal herb back then, although her jade phosphor snake martial soul reached the edge of evolution, it was just one step away. Now several years have passed, and her jade phosphor snake martial soul finally, with Yang Yuan's help, reversed its innate state and evolved into the jade phosphor serpent. After the spirit's evolution, if Du Guyan doesn't use her poison skills, it's one thing, but once she does, it's simply a nightmare for spirit masters with lower spirit power than her. Commonly known as the Weakling Harvester. Chapter 122, Tang San's PUA We Can Win. On the other side of the square, the Shrek group's expressions changed drastically upon hearing Salas's announcement. They were fighting the Heaven Du Vice team. Is this for real? From the moment they saw the Heaven Du Vice team's lineup, they knew this battle was a guaranteed loss. Although only Yu Tianheng and the Heaven Du Vice team had exchanged blows among the Shrek team, both Tang San, Oscar, and Ma Hongjun. They had all witnessed the Heaven Du Vice team in action at the Suotuo City Great Spirit Arena. The combat power they displayed back then was already strong enough to crush any team of spirit ancestors. Let alone now. Even with Tang San included, Shrek Academy only had 3 spirit ancestor-level combatants. How can we be so unlucky? We have to fight the Heaven Du Vice team on the first day. Could that guy named Salas have set us up? Ma Hongjun's beady eyes darted towards the Heaven Du Vice team's area, his face pale, even his voice trembling. Besides him, the substitutes Jing Ling, Huang Yuan, and others also had ashen faces, subconsciously looking towards Yu Tianheng and Tang San. In this Shrek team, Yu Tianheng had the highest spirit power level and was Yu Zhairogang's nephew, naturally making him the undisputed captain. And Tang San's actual combat power was no weaker than Yu Tianheng's, making him the Shrek team's spiritual pillar. Now, the Shrek team urgently needed someone to step forward and make a decision. But even Tang San and Yu Tianheng fell silent for a moment. There was a huge chasm between the two teams. Others might not know, but how could Yu Tianheng not be clear about the strength of his former teammates? The brief silence was broken by Oscar, his voice dry and clearly tinged with fear. Anyway, the qualifiers are judged by the final points, so why don't we? He swallowed hard, speaking with difficulty. For this match, let's concede first and conserve our strength. We can't beat the Heaven Du Vice team, and other teams definitely can't either, so we won't lose out. The more Oscar spoke, the more he felt it made sense, and his eyes lit up. Beside him, Ma Hongjun listened, and quickly chimed in. Third brother Captain Yu, I also think Little Ao makes sense. Why don't we surrender? For a time, the Shrek team's morale wavered. Except for Tang San, Yu Tianheng, and Dai Mubai, who hadn't expressed an opinion, everyone else had the idea of conceding. Although it was somewhat embarrassing to surrender, without a fight in front of nearly 100,000 people, the disparity in strength between the two sides was evident. Yu Tianheng stood at the very front, his face terribly grim. He clenched his fists, his fingernails digging deep into his flesh. Surrender? How could Yu Tianheng, the successor of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan, surrender without a fight at this much-anticipated Spirit Master event? If this got back to the sect, how would he face himself? The family's pride wouldn't allow him to do it, and his inner pride wouldn't allow it even more. Not to mention, he was facing his former teammates. If he lost, wouldn't that further confirm that his decision to leave Heaven Du with Shrek Academy was foolish? Therefore, he absolutely had to fight this battle. If you want to surrender, you surrender, Yu Tianheng. We'll never surrender. Immediately, the atmosphere on the field stiffened. Oscar and Ma Hongjun's faces showed a hint of awkwardness. But inwardly, they were fiercely complaining. You're amazing. You're so noble. Your spirit power is as high as rank 45, and your spirit is the blue lightning tyrant dragon, so of course you're not afraid. But have you considered that we are only in our 30s? If we fight those people from the Heaven Do Vice team, won't we be used as punching bags? Seeing this, Oscar could only cast a pleading look at Tang San. In his opinion, with Tang San's rationality, he might persuade Yu Tianheng. After all, from the current situation, surrendering was the best choice. Otherwise, if they fought the Heaven Do Vice team and suffered severe injuries, it was very likely to affect the subsequent matches. However, under Oscar's gaze, Tang San, who had been silently bowing his head, slowly raised it. From his gaze, Oscar seemed to discern a firm resolve. In an instant, Oscar understood Tang San's thoughts and cried out inwardly. Oh no! This kid Tang San also suddenly lost his mind. He actually wanted to fight the Heaven Do Vice team, like an egg hitting a rock. However, Tang San wasn't as direct as Yu Tianheng, instead maintaining a calm expression. He spoke calmly, saying in a quiet yet firm voice, "We can win." Shrek group. They looked at Tang San in bewilderment, their expressions as if asking, "You really dare to boast? Do you know what you're saying?" Even Yu Tianheng was a bit unable to hold back. But Tang San had truly inherited Yu Zhairogang's teachings, exuding an aura of confidence. His voice, though not loud, was firm and powerful, full of allure. Facing their bewildered and questioning gazes, he continued to speak in an unhurried tone. I said we can win. The Heaven Do Vice team is indeed powerful, but don't forget, you are also top-tier geniuses. Tianheng is a rank 45 spirit ancestor, and his spirit is the blue lightning tyrant dragon. As the #1 beast spirit in the world, can't you suppress a mere jade phosphor serpent? Yu Tianheng really wanted to say that he couldn't suppress Dugu Yan's jade phosphor serpent, but for the sake of face, not only did he not say it, but he also nodded coldly and proudly. Then Tang San looked at Dai Mubai, his gaze sincere. Mubai, you were once the leader of our Shrek 7 devils. Now that you've broken through to rank 41, with the power of your white tiger spirit, isn't it more than enough to deal with the Shi family brothers? Dai Mubai gritted his teeth after hearing this. Especially seeing the expectant gazes of Ma Hongjun and Oscar, as the former leader of Shrek Academy, how could he say he couldn't do it in front of his two juniors? So Dai Mubai could only feign composure and nod faintly. Then Tang San continued, Little Ao, you are the only innate full spirit power on the continent. With your continuous combat ability support, plus Fatty's top-tier mutated spirit, you can also cause some disruption to their support. Besides that, there's Tai Long with his great ape spirit. Aside from Yang Yuan, I haven't seen anyone at the same rank who can contend with you in terms of strength. Although the opponent is strong, are we really that weak? No, we will definitely prove that we are stronger than them. Brothers, cheer up, our Shrek team doesn't have a single coward. This match, we are fighting not only for ourselves, but also for Shrek, for glory. Tang San's voice was very inciting, his tone gradually rising from initial calmness to passionate and fervent. A round of PUA directly ignited the fighting spirit of the Shrek team. Third brother is right, although they are strong, we are not weak either. Who wins and who loses, we'll only know after we fight. Let's fight them. Zyro Wu Ma Hongjun and Tai Long were hyped up, yelling and waving their fists. 3 people couldn't even put one brain together. The likes of Dai Mubai and Yu Tianheng were actually just putting on a brave face, hopping not to lose too badly once they were on stage. The others were simply being egged on. At this moment, the host's urging voice sounded. Shrek team, hurry up and get on stage. Tang San took a deep breath upon hearing this, then looked at his companions beside him and uttered 2 words. Let's go. Chapter 123, Crush Them. Heaven Do Great Spirit Arena. Yu Tianheng and Tang San led the Shrek team members toward the largest spirit fighting stage in the center of the plaza. This time, to deal with the Heaven Do Vice team, the Shrek elite had no intention of hiding their strength at all. They brought out all their elites. Once they stepped onto the spirit fighting stage. Opposite them, the members of the Heaven Do Vice team had already taken their positions, having waited for quite some time. Upon seeing the lineup of the Heaven Do Vice team, expressions of surprise and delight appeared on the faces of the Shrek group. They did not expect the Heaven Du Vice team to be so arrogant, replacing Yi Lingling and Oslo with those two dead weights, Zhuking and Meng Yuan. As former teammates, did Tang San and the others not know the strength of Zhuking and Meng Yuan? Even though they were all in their 30s, Fatty, relying on his evil Fire Phoenix spirit, could definitely suppress both of them on his own. Perhaps there really is a chance of winning. At this moment, a sharp glint suddenly erupted on the faces of Tang San, Dai Mubai, and Yu Tianheng. With two fewer spirit ancestors, the gap between the two sides instantly narrowed significantly. The only thing they found troublesome was Dougu Yan's poison techniques. Yu Tianheng mused, I wonder if Dougu Yan has reached the Spirit King realm. The level 50 bottleneck shouldn't be so easy to break through. Although Yu Tianheng knew that Dougu Yan had already reached level 49 a year ago, the bottleneck between major realms was not so easy to break through. For example, Dai Mubai, his talent was not low, but he had been stuck at level 39 for a whole year, only barely managing a breakthrough to level 40 in the last month. Tang San said in a deep voice, Brothers, perk up, our chance to become famous throughout the world has arrived. The fighting spirit of the Shrek team ignited instantly, and even Oscar, who had always been relatively pessimistic, revealed a glimmer of wishful thinking in his eyes. What if they actually won? Back at the Soto Great Spirit Arena, all members of the Berserk fighting team were spirit elders above level 35. But what happened? Weren't they still defeated by them? How similar is the current situation to that time? The gazes of the two teams collided in midair, and a playful arc lifted the corners of Dougu Yan's heroic and spirited face. Interesting, not only do they not surrender, but they actually want to defeat us. As she spoke, Dougu Yan turned to look at her teammates. What do you think? The Shi family brothers grinned. We brothers will listen to you, Sister Yanzi. Yufeng chuckled. I've long been annoyed with these Shrek guys. Today is the perfect chance to leave them with an unforgettable lesson. Ening Rongrong rolled her eyes, then said, Yufeng, beat that lecherous tiger and that grass chicken for me. Break one arm and I'll give you 10,000 gold coins. Break all 5 limbs and I'll give you 100,000. Hiss Tilda, Yufeng gasped. Young Miss Ning, you are incredibly ruthless. But where is the 5th limb? Yufeng asked, puzzled. You don't even know that. Ning Rongrong glanced at Yufeng with disdain and dropped a line. Figure it out yourself. The next moment, Yufeng suddenly realized, then looked at Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun, feeling a chill in his lower body. These two guys provoked young Miss Ning, so it's their own bad luck. Little did he know, Ning Rongrong had long ago arranged for people to go to Shrek Academy to cause trouble for the two, but they were caught red-handed by Flender and Erlong. Helpless Flender, Erlong, and Yu Xirogang visited Ning Fengzhai together and apologized humbly, which finally made Ning Fengzhai let Ma Hongjun and Dai Mubai go. That was why Ning Rongrong wanted Yufeng to attack the two on the arena, insisting on teaching them another lesson. We will also follow Sister Yanzi's arrangements. Zhuking and Meng Yuan had complicated expressions, but both wanted to prove themselves, and their battle intent rose. Right now was the best time for them to prove themselves. Dougu Yan nodded slightly upon seeing this, then cast her gaze back toward the Shrek group, her red lips parting slightly. In that case then, crush them. Her voice and the referee's high-pitched announcement sounded at the same moment. The match begins. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Boom, as the referee's voice fell, a roaring sound instantly erupted on the spirit fighting stage. Both the Heaven Du Vice team and the Shrek team simultaneously released their respective spirits, and a powerful aura instantly swept across the spirit fighting stage. Brilliant spirit rings spiraled up from beneath the feet of both sides. It was a uniform best spirit ring configuration. And when Dougu Yan displayed her spirit rings, the entire audience in the Great Spirit Arena went completely wild. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, black, it's a 10,000-year spirit ring. My god, the Heaven Du Vice team actually has a spirit king. How is the Shrek team supposed to fight this? I know who she is Dougu Yan, the granddaughter of His Excellency Poison Douluo. So that's it, no wonder she is a spirit king at such a young age. It turns out she's the granddaughter of His Excellency Poison Douluo. Heavens, a team actually has one spirit king and 3 spirit ancestors. Is this really just the Heaven Do Academy Vice team? If the Vice team is this strong, then how terrifying must the main team be? The mountain-shaking and sea-roaring exclamations, shouts, and cheers almost blew the roof off the Heaven Do Great Spirit arena. The sound waves were like a tide, and Yuan instantly became the most dazzling star in the Great Spirit arena. In the VIP box, Salas looked at Yuan, who was like a bright star, and a look of relief flashed in his eyes. It's fortunate that this girl is not on the same team as Yang Yuan. Otherwise, the Spirit Hall team would probably have no chance of winning this Soul Master tournament. The smile on Emperor Zuyi's face was incredibly radiant. The appearance of the Heaven Do Vice team undoubtedly won plenty of face for the Empire and Heaven Do Academy. Meanwhile, on the spirit fighting stage below, the Shrek group saw Yuan's 5 glaring spirit rings, and their eyes, which had been burning with battle intent, instantly regained some clarity. Fortunately, Tang San let out a shout at this moment, stopping their fadding fighting spirit. Steady, everyone, it's just a mere spirit king. Before her spirit power is exhausted, she might not be able to defeat us all. As he spoke, he looked sharply at Yu Tianheng. Tianheng, I'll go attack their support spirit master, so you'll have to rely on yourself to hold Yuan back. Yu Tianheng's expression changed upon hearing this. After seeing Yuan reach the Spirit King realm, he really did not want to face her. But if he didn't make a move, the others would have no power to fight back against Yuan at all. Regardless, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon's poison resistance was considered among the top tier for beast spirits. All right, leave her to me, Yu Tianheng said through gritted teeth. The others breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this. Little Ao makes some sausages. Fatty, Zhuking and Meng Yuan are yours. Mubai, find a way to clear a path for me. I'm going to eliminate Ning Rongrong. The 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda spirit had too great an effect in team battles and must be eliminated first. On the other side, the Shi family brothers stood like left and right protectors in front of Ning Rongrong. On Ning Rongrong's body, 3 spirit rings flickered and a crisp voice followed, resounding on the spirit fighting stage. The 7 treasures are famous: first power, second speed, third spirit. In an instant, beams of brilliant light landed on the members of the Heaven Do Vice team. Moreover, to maintain her spirit power consumption, Ning Rongrong applied different focus amplifications to different people. Spirit power amplification for Yuan and Meng Yuan, speed amplification for Zhuking and Yu Feng, and strength amplification for the Shi family brothers. Under such amplification, it was enough to support everyone to complete an entire spirit fight. A terrifying 40% amplification instantly manifested on everyone. This amplification was just like the fuse of a connected battle. It ignited at the slightest touch. Chapter 124, Completely Crushing Shrek, 6K3 in 1. I originally wanted to end the battle with Shrek in one chapter, but I got carried away and ended up writing a full 6,000 words. Also, I discovered a bug myself. Ning Fengzhai has a titled Douluo by his side, but I forgot about Zyro Wu, so I will just write about Zyro Wu exposing her identity in the next chapter. A pair of brownish-yellow wings unfurled behind Yu Feng, and with a light tap of his toes, his body rose into midair. Ha ha ha, I'm going first. Yu Feng laughed heartily, flapped his wings, and then, like an arrow released from the string, instantly dove toward the direction where Little Ao was located. The speed was so fast that it was impossible to defend against. After all, for ordinary spirit masters, flying spirit masters were inherently quite troublesome existences. Because on Douluo Continent, ordinary spirit masters could only possess the ability to fly once they became titled Douluo. Watch out, Yu Feng's target is Little Ao, Yu Tianheng shouted loudly. In the past, when he and Yu Feng were on the same team, every time they had a team spirit battle, Yu Feng's role was always to strike directly at the heart of the enemy, attacking the opponent's support system spirit master. Moreover, relying on his flying ability, Yu Feng could almost always achieve results every time he made a move. However, someone reacted even faster than Yu Tianheng. I've been guarding against you for a long time. A gleam of light flashed in Tang San's eyes, and his first spirit ring flashed. First spirit skill, blue-silver grass bind. In an instant, more than a dozen blue-purple blue-silver grass shot out from his hands at an extremely fast speed. Tang San was extremely satisfied with his reaction, believing that this move of his would at least cause a little trouble for Yu Feng. After all, he did not believe that Yu Feng's reaction in midair could be faster than his own. And after absorbing the Datra snake and two man-faced demon spiders, the potent poison contained within his blue-silver grass martial soul could be said to be even more formidable than in the original work. Even though Yu Feng was a spirit ancestor above level 40, as long as he was hit by the poison of his blue-silver grass, not to mention falling to the ground from the poison on the spot, his movements would certainly be hindered. But the next second, a pair of wind blades suddenly shot out from Yu Feng's wings. The wind blades crossed in an X shape, instantly shattering the incoming blue-silver grass into several pieces. Tang San's blue-silver grass had successively absorbed 3 poison attribute spirit beasts, which indeed allowed the blue-silver grass to contain potent poison. But correspondingly, this also made the blue-silver grass far inferior in toughness to plant-type martial souls of the same level. The wind blades that Yu Feng released casually from his wings were actually enough to shatter his blue-silver grass. How is this possible? Tang San witnessed this scene, his pupils constricting suddenly, feeling a sense of disbelief. Fortunately, he reacted instantly. Mubai, hurry and stop him. Leave him to me, Dai Mubai shouted loudly, his internal spirit power surging and exploding outward. Second spirit skill, White Tiger Light Wave. Dai Mubai took a step forward, his second spirit ring flashed, and he opened his mouth to spit out a milky white circular ball of light toward the direction where Yu Feng was. However, the moment the light ball shot over, Yu Feng's figure swerved sharply, and the light ball passed by his side, exploding in midair. He could even dodge that. Dai Mubai's expression tightened. At the same time, the battle on the Great Spirit Arena stage was on the verge of breaking out. Meng Yuan held her snake wand, her figure like a nimble snake, rushing toward the Shrek team from the side. Her figure was agile, and it actually gave people a feeling of being elusive. Let me, this young master, meet you, this traitor of Shrek. Ma Hongzhen let out a long howl and strode over with an arrogant gait. After martial soul possession, although it was called the evil fire phoenix, it looked more like a common chicken. There was not only no nervousness on his face, but instead, a lecherous look flashed across it, and he punched toward Meng Yuan's chest. Meng Yuan noticed his intention, a fierce look flashed across her face, and the force with which she swung the snake wand increased by a few points. Yuan did not release poison mist. Most of her spirit abilities were area of effect attacks, and once fully released, they would not distinguish between friend and foe. However, besides her spirit abilities, she naturally did not lack means for single-target attacks. Opposite, Yu Tianheng was constantly paying attention to every move of Yuan. The moment the latter moved her feet, he released his second and third spirit abilities. Second spirit skill, Thunderous Fury. Third spirit ability, Fury of Thunder. In an instant, the thunder snakes coiling around Yu Tianheng's body suddenly magnified countless times. At the same time, blue-purple scales appeared on Yu Tianheng's arms and part of his body, which seemed to have expanded a circle. This was exactly the powerful aspect of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul. Dragon Transformation. In the Dragon Transformation state, the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul's poison resistance ability also increased significantly. This was also Yu Tianheng's greatest confidence in wanting to contend with Yuan. However, while he overestimated himself, he underestimated Yuan's poison arts, and even more so, he underestimated the amplification ability of Ning Rongrong's 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda. Facing Yu Tianheng at this moment, the expression on Yuan's face still appeared incomparably calm. Behind her, the phantom of the Jade Phosphor Serpent Emperor emerged. Taking a step forward, a powerful spirit power shockwave immediately swept out from her body, carrying a huge sense of oppression, just like a great mountain, instantly pressing down on Yu Tianheng. This kind of oppression. Yu Tianheng's body shook, and an expression of disbelief appeared on his face. It was not that he had not fought against Spirit King level teachers in the academy, but that Spirit King level teacher could never provide such a huge sense of oppression. A drop of cold sweat instantly flowed down from Yu Tianheng's forehead. His heart was in chaos. But even more fatal was that, the moment his heart was in chaos, Du Guyan also moved. Her speed, in Yu Tianheng's eyes, was simply like a green ghost, so fast that his naked eye had some difficulty capturing it. Until a thick, fishy smell rushed to his nose. This fishy smell, he only sniffed it once, and he had a feeling of nausea and wanting to vomit. He saw a dark green palm print that had appeared in front of him, he did not know when. As a former opponent of Du Guyan, he instantly recognized this move of hers. This was exactly the ultimate skill that Du Guyan relied on to become famous. 1,000 mechanisms, 10,000 poisons palm. This palm technique was extremely terrifying. It was said that it compressed Du Guyan's poison arts onto the palm and then exploded it outward. Just as Yu Tianheng reacted, Du Guyan's palm had already imprinted on his body. Bang! With a low, muffled sound, the green poison mist instantly invaded Yu Tianheng's body. His body was like a kite with a broken string, flying backward, and he spat out a mouthful of black blood with a foul, fishy smell in midair. The Shrek group caught a glimpse of this scene in their peripheral vision, a flash of shock appearing in their eyes. Their originally spirited morale was like suddenly being doused with a basin of cold water, cooling down rapidly. Not good, we must change strategy quickly. A look of anxiety flashed across Tang San's face, and he shouted loudly. Little ow, flying mushroom sausage. Received, Oscar responded loudly, immediately beginning to chant the incantation to create the flying mushroom sausage. But during this time, the others had a hard time. Dai Mubai and Yu Feng fought. Although the former's martial soul quality was higher, he was suppressed by Yu Feng the entire time. The latter could not only fly but was also too agile, and his combat experience was extremely high. He absolutely would not clash head-on with Dai Mubai. As soon as he landed a hit, he would immediately pull away, completely not giving any chance, appearing incomparably cunning. Meng Yuan's spirit power was originally higher than Ma Hongzhen's, and under Ning Rongrong's amplification, it was even approaching level 40. In addition, the spirit snake one style she mastered had unpredictable footwork, like a real spirit snake. Let alone fighting back, Ma Hongzhen could not even touch the hem of Meng Yuan's clothes, and he was beaten the whole time without being able to fight back. Zyro Wu, go help Fatty first, I'll watch over little Ao here. Okay. After Zyro Wu finished speaking, she immediately rushed toward Meng Yuan like a pink bolt of lightning, instantly joining the battle circle. Although she had a good relationship with Zhu Zhuqing and Meng Yuan when they were at Shrek. But this was a competition, so she naturally would not show mercy. But just at the critical moment when Zyro Wu moved, Zhu Zhuqing, who had been waiting for an opportunity, had a gleam of light flash in her cold eyes. She appeared to be rushing toward Zyro Wu, but her gaze was constantly paying attention to Tang San beside Oscar. And the moment Zhu Zhuqing moved, Tang San's eyes relaxed, and he shifted his attention to Du Guyan. According to his plan, it should have been Yu Tianheng restraining Du Guyan, and then he would find a way to deal with Ning Rongrong. He just did not expect that Yu Tianheng was completely not Du Guyan's opponent, and could not even restrain her. Helpless, he could only take action. His first spirit ring flashed, and countless blue-silver grass surged toward Du Guyan. But he soon also felt the huge sense of oppression coming from Du Guyan. Because when his poisonous blue-silver grass faced Du Guyan, it truly interpreted what it meant to be a minor witch meeting a great witch. Du Guyan's body surface was covered with a layer of faint green poison mist. Tang San's blue-silver grass only touched this layer of green poison mist, and it immediately withered and rotted, finally collapsing to the ground. How is it possible? Tang San exclaimed in shock, unable to believe that his blue-silver grass would be so vulnerable. But he did not want to think what was impossible about this. Du Guyan's Jade Phosphor Serpent Emperor martial soul was inherently one of the world's top poison attribute martial souls, and Du Guyan was a spirit king who had absorbed 5 spirit rings. Looking at Tang San, although he had absorbed 3 poison attribute spirit beast spirit rings, the essence of blue-silver grass was not a poison attribute martial soul, so how could it be compared with Du Guyan? It could be said that the current Tang San was completely countered by Yuan in terms of martial soul. His blue-silver grass martial soul could not pose any threat to Yuan. And to make matters worse, just as Tang San focused his attention on Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing, who was rushing towards Zyro Wu, suddenly changed direction at the last moment. Opportunity. It's now. On her body, the third spirit ring lit up silently. Shadow stealth. Zhu Zhuqing's figure immediately submerged into the shadows, and with a speed that the naked eye could hardly capture, she flashed toward the direction where Oscar was located. And now only Tai Long was left guarding beside Oscar. Because of his thick skin and sturdy flesh, Tai Long was arranged by Tang San to guard beside Oscar to act as a gatekeeper. But while he was thick-skinned and sturdy in terms of perception, he naturally could not compare to other spirit masters. He did not even notice that Zhu Zhuqing had submerged into the shadows. Not just him, Tang San also did not notice. His attention was completely attracted by Yuan. Only Zyro Wu noticed this point. Her expression changed drastically, and she exclaimed, "Quickly protect little Ao." She had already spoken to remind them at the first moment, but for Tai Long and Tang San, it was already too late. Oscar was also concentrating fully on chanting the incantation, completely unaware of the approaching danger. A slender black shadow appeared from behind him. At this very moment, Tai Long and Tang San finally came to their senses. It's not good. Tai Long's face was filled with fear, completely not understanding how Zhu Zhuqing could suddenly appear behind Oscar. Tang San's face changed drastically. Oscar was a food system spirit master. Once an agility attack system spirit master got close, there was absolutely no way to survive. The most important thing was that without Oscar's support, they would likely have no power to resist. However, Zhuqing would not stop just because of their exclamations. Her claws swiped out violently. To deal with a support spirit master, she didn't even need to use a spirit ability. The whistling claw wind left 10 sharp claw marks on Oscar's back. He let out a heart-wrenching scream, spat out a mouthful of blood, and passed out on the spot. The various sausages he had produced scattered all over the ground. From the beginning of the match until now, it had been at most 30 seconds, and the Shrek support was already the first to be eliminated. Little Ao. Tang San witnessed this scene, his eyes splitting with rage. In the next second, his third spirit ring flashed, and a blue-purple light mass instantly shot towards Zhuqing. This was his third spirit ability, Spider Web Restraint. It was not only instantaneous, but once an ordinary spirit elder was hit, they would immediately be bound and lose their mobility. Zhuqing's abilities were too strange. If not restricted, Shrek would fall into an even greater passive position. However, just as Tang San fired the spider web restraint, Zhuqing's figure had already dived back into the shadows. Having completed the deed, she brushed off her clothes and hid her merit and fame. Tang San's spider web restraint missed completely. Beautiful. Between fights, the Heaven Du Vice team still had time to cheer for Zhuqing, looking completely at ease. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Tang San was burning with anxiety. Tai Long stood frozen in place, at a loss. Young lord, it's all my fault. It's my fault for not protecting Oscar. But Tang San had no intention of blaming him at this moment. Instead, he looked at the scattered sausages on the ground and roared. Pick up the sausages. Pick up the sausages. Oh, okay. Tai Long immediately squatted down and, looking slightly panicked, picked up all the sausages Oscar had produced. Big recovery sausage, small detox sausage, flying mushroom sausage, all 3 types were there. It was just that he had only produced 3 flying mushroom sausages. Throw the sausages to me. Hearing Tang San's command, Tai Long immediately threw the picked-up sausages toward him. Tang San used the Tang Sect ultimate skills, controlling crane-catching dragon, to catch them all, then ate one of the flying mushroom sausages and flew into midair. Tianheng Mu by catch, don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Tang San raised his hand and threw the other 2 flying mushroom sausages. There were only 3 flying mushroom sausages, so naturally, they had to be given to the 3 people with the strongest combat power. Dai Mubai grabbed a flying mushroom sausage, a flash of surprise in his eyes. He was disgusted by Yufeng and had long been impatient to fight back. Ha 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 ha, you mangy bird, watch how this young master deals with you next. Dai Mubai swallowed the mushroom sausage, and his body soared into the air. Opposite him, the corners of Yufeng's mouth curled up. You don't really think that just because you can fly, I'm afraid of you, do you? I was just teasing you earlier, the battle. It has only just begun. As soon as he finished speaking, the aura on Yufeng changed slightly, and his speed was suddenly much faster than before. If one looked closely, one could see that the spirit power on his wings was far denser than on the rest of his body. Fully unleashing his power, Yufeng was faster, his figure more agile, and his offensive more fierce. On the other hand, although Dai Mubai had also flown up, he was nowhere near as agile in midair as he was on the ground, which hindered his performance and turned him into Yufeng's human punching bag. Yufeng laughed loudly. Faster, faster, faster. Is this your strength? Too weak, too weak, too weak. Countless wind blades fell on Dai Mubai. Even though he had activated the White Tiger Barrier and White Tiger Vajra transformation, he still turned into a bloody mess within a short half-minute. However, compared to the physical injuries, Yufeng's verbal offensive was like a sharper knife, striking him until he was battered and exhausted. He didn't understand. In battles between spirit masters, besides bombarding each other with spirit abilities, wasn't it just about using their bodies to clash head-on? When did it become so flashy like Yufeng's style? In fact, it wasn't just him. Except for Tang San and Yu Tianheng, who were being suppressed by Du Guyan's spirit power. The others in the Shrek team were basically facing the same situation. After Oscar was eliminated, Tai Long took the initiative to attack and engaged Zhuking. But Zhuking circled around Tai Long using some strange footwork, appearing and disappearing like a ghost, her swiping claws resembling heavy ghost shadows, with astonishing destructive power. Most importantly, these attacks of hers were not even spirit abilities. In just a moment, Tai Long already had dozens of claw marks on his body, dripping with blood. If not for his thick skin and flesh, he would have been eliminated by now. Compared to a year ago, it was truly a rebirth. Only Ma Hongzhen and Zyro Wu made Meng Yuan suffer quite a bit. Zyro Wu used her second spirit ability, Charm, on her. Fortunately, Ning Rongrong's 40% spirit power boost brought Meng Yuan's spirit power level close to level 40, which allowed her to break Zyro Wu's charm at the critical moment, and block the two's offensive at the cost of minor injuries. Seeing this, Ning Rongrong said to the Shi family brothers, "One of you can guard me, the other go help Yuan." Good. Shimo nodded then, like a moving tank, charged toward the direction of Meng Yuan with a booming sound. It's not good. Zyro Wu and Ma Hongzhen were shocked. Yuan's move. Shimo's deep voice came from afar. Meng Yuan immediately guessed what the latter was going to do and quickly dodged to the side. And the moment Meng Yuan dodged, Ma Hongzhen's mung bean-sized eyes tightened and a look of panic suddenly appeared. The arena was shaking. He saw a massive figure growing larger and larger in his pupils until it almost filled them completely. "Fatty, get out of the way," Zyro Wu exclaimed, but it was too late. When this massive figure slammed into Ma Hongzhen with lightning speed, he didn't even have time to let out a scream before his body was sent flying like a cannonball. The moment he was sent flying, he felt as if a mountain had crashed into his chest, making his whole body feel like it was about to fall apart. It must be known that Shimo's rank was as high as level 44, and his spirit, Black Tortoise Turtle, was not inferior to Ma Hongzhen's evil Fire Phoenix. And this move was created by Yang Yuan, based on the characteristics of their brothers' spirits, called Black Tortoise Impact. Under such circumstances, it was only because Shimo had held back that Ma Hongzhen wasn't killed instantly. Almost at the same time, Zhuking dived back into the shadows, and while Tai Long was bewildered, she appeared again. This time, welcoming Tai Long was Nether 100 Claws. No matter how thick-skinned Tai Long was, he finally fell. Zhuking completely unscathed. In midair, Dai Mubai was covered in blood, seeing his teammates being eliminated one by one, he shouted loudly. Fourth spirit ability, White Tiger Meteor Shower. You have no chance. Yu Feng didn't wait for Dai Mubai to make a move and decisively attacked to interrupt the casting. Many powerful spirit abilities had a wind-up, but under Yang Yuan's guidance, the Heaven Du Vice team did not rely heavily on spirit abilities. This was also where Yang Yuan differed from Grandmaster. He would instruct the Shrek group, saying, "You should use this spirit ability at this time, and use that spirit ability at that time." But Yang Yuan taught Yu Feng and others to not use spirit abilities, using moves that were no less than, or even more powerful than, spirit abilities. Yu Feng took a deep breath, and hundreds or thousands of wind blades condensed around his wings instantly. This was a move Yang Yuan created based on Yu Feng's third spirit ability, Rising Wind and Surging Clouds, plus his fourth spirit ability, Whirlwind Blade. 1,000 winds, 10,000 blades. Yu Feng shook his wings, and the next moment, hundreds or thousands of wind blades poured out like a torrent, instantly swallowing Dai Mubai. Dai Mubai was much tougher than Ma Hongjun, so Yu Feng naturally didn't have to worry about accidentally killing him, so he held nothing back. Thousands of wind blades passed through his body, like a slow slicing execution. Dai Mubai wailed miserably in midair, but it was to no avail. Yu Feng stroked his chin. He wondered if this would earn him those 100,000 gold coins from young Miss Ning. His 1,000 winds, 10,000 blades had not spared Dai Mubai's 3 legs. In the audience, the cheering was deafening, resounding through the dome. But the teachers of Shrek were as anxious as ants on a hot pot. Flender flew into midair, disregarding the rules to fly to the referee's side, and shouted anxiously. "Referee, we concede. Shrek team concedes." The referee looked troubled and cast his gaze toward the VIP stand. After all, the Shrek team members hadn't shouted to concede yet. "What's going on?" Emperor Zuyi witnessed this scene and spoke indifferently. Behind him, Meng Shenji said calmly, "That is Dean Flender of Shrek Academy. He must be trying to concede for his students." "I see, it is indeed difficult for them to have the Shrek team fight the Heaven Du Vice team. In that case, I approve his request." Having learned of the talent of the Shrek group, Emperor Zuyi naturally still had ideas of recruiting them. Seeing Emperor Zuyi nod, the referee immediately flew above the spirit fighting arena and announced, his voice resounding through the entire Great Spirit arena. "Since the Dean of Shrek Academy has conceded on behalf of the Shrek team, this match." Before the referee could finish his announcement, Du Guyan frowned, and a sharp look suddenly flashed in her eyes. "Not good." Tang San saw this, his gaze focused. In the next second, a surging green palm slapped towards the two from across the air. A huge sense of oppression instantly enveloped the two, as if freezing the surrounding air, making them unable to move an inch. Bang! With just one palm, the two were like kites with broken strings, smashed and sent flying outside the spirit fighting arena. Du Guyan had been playing with them the whole time, so they hadn't realized how exaggerated the gap between them and Du Guyan was. Until now, seeing Flender trying to help Shrek concede, Du Guyan immediately stopped holding back. This palm, 20 years of internal energy. How could Tang San and Yu Tianheng block it? Almost at the same moment, the referee's suddenly stuttering announcement also rang out. Heaven Du Vice Team Victory. Chapter 125, World Attention, Zyro Wu Exposed. Boom! Accompanied by 2 muffled crashes, Tang San and Yu Tianheng's figures slammed heavily outside the Daohun platform, kicking up a cloud of dust. Both were covered in wounds, their auras weak, and strange green stripes appeared on their skin. Their wounds began to fester and emit a strong, foul stench. Tang San Tianheng, in front of the VIP platform, Flender's eyes were splitting with rage as he cried out in alarm. He immediately flew toward the direction where the two had fallen at the fastest possible speed. At the same time, the entire Heaven Du Great Spirit arena erupted. Heaven Du! Heaven Du! Heaven Du! Nearly 100,000 spectators shouted the name Heaven Du until their voices were hoarse, their expressions fanatical. The thunderous cheers, like a volcanic eruption, almost buried the entire Heaven Do Great Spirit arena. However, amidst this fervent and crazy atmosphere, there was an exception. The Shrek Academy viewing area. Yu Xiaogang suddenly sprang from his seat, his body trembling violently from extreme agitation and shock. His face was ashen, and his lips quivered, unable to produce any coherent sound. Lost, they lost. Even Tang San, whom he held such high hopes for, had lost, and lost so completely, crushed by a single strike from Du Guyan. She was clearly just a jade phosphor serpent spirit master. Even if her spirit power reached the spirit king level, she should only be the weakest spirit king. Why was she able to unleash such terrifying strength without even using a spirit ability? This is completely illogical. Liu Erlong, Zhao Wuji, and the other Shrek teachers stood up immediately afterward, their faces also filled with shock, unwillingness, and deep worry. Today's devastating loss might create a trauma for the children. They absolutely must not be discouraged. Liu Erlong sighed. At this moment, Zhao Wuji grumbled in a muffled voice. Zhu Zhuqing and Meng Yuan, those two girls have only been at Heaven Do Academy for a year, so how did they suddenly become so powerful? In an instant, Yu Xiaorogang's face turned ghastly pale. Zhu Zhuqing and Meng Yuan were mediocre under his guidance, yet they shone brightly the moment they arrived at Heaven Do Academy. Wasn't this clearly saying that he was useless? Old Zhao, keep your comments brief, Xiao Xin said in a low voice, shaking his head slightly. Zhao Wuji quietly tched, but still heeded Xiao Xin's words. On the Daohun platform. Upon hearing the referee announce the Heaven Do Vice team as the winners, the members of the Heaven Do Vice team stopped their attacks. Xiao Wu looked around blankly. The Shrek team was surprisingly left with only her standing. But she immediately thought of Tang San, who had just been struck off the Daohun platform by Du Guyan's palm, and a look of urgency flashed across her face. Oh no, third brother. Anxiously, she darted toward the direction where Tang San had fallen. The members of the Heaven Do Vice team gathered together, all smiling. Yu Feng walked up to Ning Rongrong, chuckled, and pointed at Dai Mubai, who looked like a man made of blood in the distance. Young Miss Enning, are you satisfied with how I completed the mission? Enning Rongrong casually glanced over. Although she couldn't tell exactly how severe Dai Mubai's injuries were, seeing him covered in blood, especially the mangled flesh between his legs, she nodded with satisfaction. Well done, don't worry, you won't miss out on your 100,000 gold coins. Enning Rongrong waved her hand dismissively, treating 100,000 gold coins as if they were 10 gold coins. After speaking, she didn't forget to look at Shimo. Brother Shimo, you get a share too. Although Ma Hongjun stopped making advances after she had someone teach him a lesson the first time, she still found him irritating. A lecherous fatty whose mind is filled with lust, and who publicly sexually harasses girls, is just wasting air by being alive. And Shimo's final collision made her feel quite relieved. Shimo gave a simple, honest laugh after hearing this. And no need to give me any. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Rongrong waved her hand casually, uncaringly. Brother Shimo, don't be polite with me. The 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School isn't short of this small amount of money. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but swallow, having only one thought in their minds. Is this the financial power of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School? How terrifying. Giving away 200,000 gold coins, so casually, without even batting an eye. Even Du Guyan glanced over sideways. Of course, she was only slightly surprised. After all, any random medicinal herb in her grandfather's medicine garden was a priceless treasure. To some extent, her grandfather's medicine garden was probably richer than the entire 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Zhu Zhuqing and Meng Yuan stood together, looking at the members of the Shrek team lying defeated in the distance, expressions of emotion appearing on their faces. Zhuqing, it's a good thing we chose Heaven Do Academy back then, otherwise we might be regretting it bitterly today. Meng Yuan patted her chest, looking relieved. Although Zhu Zhuqing was usually cold and silent, she still showed a hint of excitement at this moment. If she could keep staying at Heaven Do Academy, perhaps she really would have a chance to change her destiny. Du Guyan stood in front of the group and smiled faintly, All right, let's go. After she spoke, the 7 naturally gathered together, their steps synchronized. They did not respond to the overwhelming cheers from the audience, but instead turned their backs to the direction where the Shrek team lay defeated and steadily walked away toward the back of the Douhan platform. They looked high-spirited and triumphant in the viewing areas of the various academies. Heaven Water Academy. The members of the Heaven Water team couldn't help but swallow, and someone spoke up. After only a year, Yuan and the others' strength has skyrocketed to this extent. Isn't that too exaggerated? If it were us fighting them, would we have a chance to win? Shui Binja and Zhu Wu exchanged glances, both seeing seriousness in the other's eyes. Divine Wind Academy. The other members of the Divine Wind team were frightened by the strength displayed by the Heaven Du Vice team, but only Feng Xiaoroshan looked unwilling to accept defeat. Damn it, if only I had 2 more years. If he had 2 more years, he was confident his spirit power could definitely surpass Yuan's. At that time, relying on his Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes. Besides Yang Yuan, no one else in the Soul Master Tournament would be his opponent. Thunder and Blazing Academies. They gave up, because they knew they absolutely could not be the opponents of the Heaven Du Vice team. Many team members whispered among themselves. Sigh, if only we had known, we would have signed up for Heaven Du Academy back then. These words made the accompanying teacher next to them so angry they wanted to hit someone. Heaven Du Academy area. Yang Yuan watched the Heaven Du Vice team decisively secure victory, and the corner of his mouth lifted slightly. With this performance, they hadn't disgraced him. Beside Yang Yuan, Du Gubo narrowed his eyes, glanced at a figure on the Douhan platform, and then stood up. Zyro Yuan, come with me. Yang Yuan glanced at the figure, anxiously rushing towards Tang San in the distance, and shook his head. This stupid rabbit, she's exposed now. He had originally wondered if Zyro Wu might have some method to conceal her aura, since she dared to participate in the Soul Master Tournament. But unfortunately, he could still tell at a glance that Zyro Wu was not human. Moreover, it wasn't just him. Du Gubo and the sword Douluo sitting behind Ning Fengzhai also recognized her identity. He could only say that she truly had guts.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to AI Otaku Studio, and don't forget to check out Infinite Novel Audio for more amazing content. See you in the next adventure.